Well, I've missed a couple of these the last couple of weeks because we have been doing the play False Accounts at the OSO Theatre in Barnes. Thank you very much if you came along to see that. I seem to have a quiff of hair sticking out. Let's sort that out. See, I've got this island of hair like that's hanging on near the front. Can you see this? And it's like a little island, and it causes this quiff to come down. I think I just should just like shave off the whole lot, really. Anyway, but I always wear baseball caps, so no one ever sees my hair anyway. So I'm being sent text after text here. Entertaining. Let's see if men can really multitask. First of all, thank you to all our new subscribers. I want to give a big shout out to my guests last night. The Inside Man, whose name I can't reveal, who worked on Alien 3. We also had a surprise visit from the Critical Drinker, and of course my good friend Matthew Holmes, who does the regular Tuesday slot with me, where we compare, contrast, and retro review two similar films, or two connected films. Thus far, we have done Wyatt Earp and Tombstone. We did Alien Resurrection and Alien 3. We have also done one other one that the memory escapes me, and we're doing Kingdom of Heaven very soon, along with Alexander the Director's Cut, which I'm actually probably going to watch tonight if I can stay awake. Anyway, I have a guest who may or may not be arriving at any time, but he seems to be having some trouble logging on. Thanks. I've got a couple of my regulars in here. Keith E. and Leroy Peters. What's up, buddy? Finished his new book this morning. Leroy writes Westerns. Leroy, feel free to drop your link in the chat. I quite like plugging other creatives. That is what the Outcasts Creative is all about. So why don't you get your link for your books, buddy, and just drop them in the chat there. TNTV Reactions is here. Man, it's like there's people coming in and interacting. That's what we want. That's very good. Thank you very much. Now, I haven't seen loads of stuff in the last couple of weeks because obviously I've been rehearsing, I've been performing because I'm in the show as well. But I have managed to squeeze in a few things. I want to give a shout out to my guys on Fighting on Film. They've actually had a guest on. They had Dale Dye, who was the military advisor on Saving Private Ryan, Platoon, Band of Brothers, also does acting roles in some of those, and is absolutely fantastic. They did an interview with him recently. It's great. It's on their podcast. You can check it out. Here's the link. Can I whack that in the chat now? I love Robbie and Matt, who do Fighting on Film. It's a fantastic podcast. Great guys. We're hoping to do a Masters of the Air watch party when that comes out with Woody from World War II TV. Anyway, so there you are. It's a bit of a plug for my guys from Fighting on Film. Great interview with Dale Dye. Check that out, but don't check it out now. Stay with me for my little stream here. It's probably not going to be that long. Maybe about an hour. It might be a bit longer if my guest can actually get on. only happens to me. So I'm just texting him. So it's a bit of a clue. This I'm getting dozens of texts here. Okay, this is a whole this is a whole lot to unpack. Yeah, but I said to this friend of mine, I've got to start a live stream in 12 minutes. This is maybe not a good time for you to send me a deluge of texts about a personal crisis. Being the good friend that I am, I'm always trying to help people out. So let me see if I can get them to come on and watch so they can see what I'm actually doing. I'm just going to say, go to YouTube. For God's sake, there we go. Go to YouTube and search. Here we go. The Outcast Creative. The Outcast Creative. Okay. All right. So Right. So who else we got? Okay. Well, I think that's all we got. I don't know what's happening with my guests. I'm going to carry on. Keep calm and carry on. So I've had a bizarre 48 hours. I've been out flying pretty much all day for the day today, searching and looking for things, flying for the show and stuff like that. So I've been quite busy, and it has been a complicated. It's been a complicated day. People coming at me from every direction. Well, I've been trying to do dozens of other things, but my guest is here. Not going to come on camera though. Inside Man is with me again. Can you hear me? Oh,
I think yesterday's
it's working,
pseudonym
mate.
would, yeah.
I can hear you. There you go. You know what? You're going to need, Inside Man, you're going to need some kind of cool avatar, because you're just like a period of blackness. It's like something out of Prince of Darkness from John Carpenter. Staring into a pool of darkness here in the side of my screen with you. We need a cool avatar for you. Maybe like an Alien 3. That is true. So maybe what we should have Tim Curry from Legend should be your avatar, because that was awesome makeup if there ever was any.
Good call. It was that. Yeah, that was Rob Bottin, wasn't it? Yeah, fantastic.
And he had to sit in. He had to sit in a bath. For like, I think it was 9 hours or something, to have that makeup all put on him. He looks great in Legend. Has to be said.
Yeah, he really does. Fantastic. I think it's one of the best, and this is kind of industry wide as well. It's one of the best prosthetics makeups that there's been. It really is a superb prosthetic, because there are no seam lines there. It's beautifully coloured. It's just a lovely makeup. It's one of those makeups that it's the makeup artist's makeup of makeups. It's an incredible piece of work.
Yeah. I have to agree. I'm a big fan of Legend. We need to do a Legend retro review, I think, at some point.
It's a really good idea. Yeah.
I think it would be good. Now, are you a fan of the TV show Succession at all, by any chance?
Do you know what? I've not seen it yet, but I keep being told about it, and I'm kind of putting my fingers in my ears a little bit. But no, I'm okay with talking about it. I do actually want to know.
So here's the caveat, Gary. Right? You're going to watch the first season, and you're gonna hate it.
Sounds right up.
But you're going to watch the first season, and you're going to hate the first season. Oh, have I lost his audio? Are you still there, mate? Oh, I might have lost his audio.
So would you say it's a little bit of a slow burn?
Yeah, it's a slow burn.
I think we kind of in and out a little bit there.
Little bit. Do you want to reset your connection? I'll take you out for a sec. Just see, because your audio was perfect yesterday.
Yeah, sure.
So let me take you out for a second. Also, see if you can get an amusing avatar to put in, which would be quite fun. Okay. All right, I'll bring our Inside Man back in a second. What I'm saying about Succession, episode 10 has just dropped. It's the final season. They're only doing 4 seasons. Always leave your audience wanting more when you're going to do that kind of thing. Well, they certainly have left their audience wanting more. I have to say that it's I think it's one of the best acted shows I've ever seen on television. Outstanding performances. The problem is with the first season is you're going to hate all of these characters, and you're going to watch it and go, well, this is like a bunch of wankers. Why should I be rooting for any of these people? And the answer is you shouldn't. Just have fun watching them destroy each other's lives. That's where the entertainment lies. And it's a real tug of war on your emotions, because it will pull you one way and back again. And you won't know whose side you're on by the end of it, because everybody has got good points and bad points, but mostly bad. So you're gonna, you're really gonna hate people and in this show, but you're gonna love hating them, if that makes sense. Now let me see if I can get our Inside Man back. Let's check the audio again. How's your audio, Inside Man?
Yeah, it's tickety boo.
Oh, there we go. Okay, we definitely need to get you an avatar.
Yeah.
I
think the Prince of Darkness one sounds really good, actually.
I could change your name to Prince of Darkness.
Yeah.
So
That's a good idea.
did you catch what I said about season
I
one of
did.
Succession?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yeah, thank you.
So season one is quite hard to get through, and I think also, to be fair to them, they were finding their feet with the show a little bit in season one, and I think they kind of had a handle on where it was going, but they were still playing the field. By episode 4 of season 2, now we know where we are, and by the end of season 2, it's like, this show is good. But I mean, some of the acting in the show, there's a couple of actors in particular, including one of the former stars of Soldier, I believe, back in the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Let me get I think it's Matthew McFadden.
Right. Okay.
Have you met him on your travels?
No, I can't say I have, if I'm completely honest with you.
I've only heard nice things about him. I haven't heard anything nasty, which is always nice.
Yeah. I think for the most part, 99.9999 recurring percent of all performers, of all actors, are just really lovely people. There's a microscopic minority.
I don't know if it's quite as high as that, but I'd say about 90%, maybe not 99.9.
I think I'm just trying to be nice.
I've met a few wankers in my time. Let me tell you, I've met some really awesome actors that are both lovely people on and off the set. And
I'll tell you who really was a lovely actor. A lovely guy. Robson Green was a lovely man.
Robson Green.
Lovely man. Yeah, really lovely man.
I heard nice things. He was on Soldier, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Yeah. And listen, I'm not going to name drop too much, but obviously
you can name drop on this channel all you want. It's all about name dropping here.
Well, obviously Tom Hanks is just, he was the nicest man in the business.
Yeah, there's this rumor going around that he's some kind of grand wizard, and I don't mean of the Ku Klux Klan. And I looked into this, and it sounds like a right load of horseshit, I got to say.
Yeah.
This is Succession. I just want to talk about the look. I've mentioned the show before, but I'm going to do it again. So here's Matthew McFadden and Nicholas Braun. Now, Nicholas Braun was not an actor I was familiar with before Succession. He plays this kind of cousin Greg. He's sort of a distant cousin, worms his way into the family, and becomes, by the end of the show, the highest paid assistant in financial history or something. He's on like 250 grand or something. And which coincidentally is pretty similar to Paula Venables' price with the Tom Hanks. With the Horizon post office scandal. Tom Hanks has come a long way from Big and Dragnet. Big is still one of his best films, in my opinion.
I absolutely agree. Couldn't agree with you more. Fantastic
His first
movie.
film was Mazes and Monsters, the thing that was supposed to be the warning against playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, really?
And you can see that. It's on YouTube.
Oh, really?
So Alan Ruck is good. You know, remember Alan Ruck from Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Oh, yes, I do. Yeah.
Cameron in Ferris Bueller's.
Yeah,
and he marries a hooker that he met and that's quite an entertaining relationship. And she's kind of, you can tell she's marrying him for the money, but she kind of has a freak out about that. And it's that they really play on it well. Like, does she love him a little bit or maybe not at all? Kieran Culkin is outstanding in this show. He is so good. He's better than, I'm sorry to his brother, but he's better than his brother ever was.
Yeah.
And I mean, he plays this kind of self-entitled, brattish younger brother, sort of second in line to the heir to the mantle of the sort of family fortune, who's got an obsession with his father's main PA, and they have slept together, and that's quite a big storyline early on.
Right.
And he gets in trouble for sending her cockpits, which comes back to haunt him later on.
I was going to say, haven't we all? But of course, I'd never do that.
No, I've never seen the appeal of sending or wanting to receive pictures of genitalia. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what that, and it's kids are doing it all the time now, apparently.
Yeah. It was, I mean, generally what I do is I sit down over a weekend drinking my mint tea and reading my Bible.
Now, are you a fan of this show, Inside Man? Because if you are, we definitely have to do a special about it. The Spartacus TV show, I loved it.
I thought it was really good. Actually, I've just been going through some of the scripts, funny enough.
Have you got some scripts for it?
Yeah, I think I might have all of them, actually.
What, the Andy Whitfield season 1?
Yeah.
Oh my God, they'd be worth a few bob.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I've got them all. Yeah, so I'm just going through a load of scripts and bits and pieces. Funny enough, today I was just doing a little bit of sorting out, and I found a load of extra sort of additional drafts of the Alien 3 script. I also found the Dan O'Bannon original Star Beast script.
Oh, that was before it was called Alien.
Yeah. But yeah, sorry, don't want to get off topic, but
no, that's
yeah.
right.
So Spartacus, I'd
well,
really
Spartacus is off topic, but I'm just responding to Leroy's comment. He is a huge history buff. Well, Leroy, you're in good company with me and Inside Man on that.
Absolutely,
especially World War II. I am going to say he's way better than his brother McCulkey, and it's not cold. McCulkey, he hasn't really done any mature adult roles. Kieran, this is the best acting I've ever seen Kieran do, but it's also one of the best. I mean, the characters in this show are what make it, and they become more and more defined, and they're all fucking horrible, self-entitled cunts.
Yeah, I love that.
I shouldn't say that. I might get racial.
No. Look, see, that's what I like, because it gives you, when you got that kind of conflict, you need that kind of conflict. You don't always have to love every character.
No.
There's this. I think as we were saying earlier on today, or as I was saying to you earlier on today, that I kind of crave something that's for grown-ups.
This is a really good show in that context. It doesn't feel like there's any token casting in it. Everything feels quite grounded, and it is a show about a load of upper class. Well, they don't really have class, but they're self-made thanks to their father's efforts. Spoon-fed kids that are now kind of struggling over, they know their father's on his last legs. Who's going to assume the kind of patriarchal mantle?
So it's almost like a sort of a, rather than class, it's more of a tier, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a modern, really slick, more visceral, gritty, full of swear words version of Dallas with cockpits. Leroy Peters has entitled them to Donald Trump's brats. I mean, that's not a bad analogy, actually. They take two personal helicopters to come go and play a game of football in the Hamptons in one episode. And then there's this great thing where this local black family are actually playing football on the pitch.
Yeah.
So they pay them money to get off the pitch so they can use the pitch just for themselves. And then as soon as this guy's written this check and given it to them for like, I think it's like $5,000 or something, immediately there's a lawyer that turns up and says, right, we now need you to sign this non-disclosure agreement so that you can never discuss this payment you've received. And that's just brilliant. And it's sort of like you catch the fringes of that as they all leave in their helicopters. I just think it's Sarah Snook is the outstanding actress in this for me, and she is Matthew McFadden's wife.
Yeah,
and she's also the daughter of the sort of main, the matriarchal character, and they have this love-hate relationship that I've never seen. It's a whole, remember like JR and what was his wife's name? Sue Ellen.
Sue Ellen. Yeah.
It's like the hatred they had, the love and the hatred that they had for each other, times 1,000 with really serious straight acting.
Yeah.
And there's just so much nuance in all the performances. And then you've got a lot of great people in the supporting cast, like Fisher Stevens. You remember him in the Short Circuit movies?
I do. Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great little part for him as a sort of creepy suck up as part of the next tier of company employees who are constantly.
I can see that, actually. I mean, that.
You see, Leroy said the show's turned me off already. Listen, the fun of watching this show is that it's so delicious in terms of not only seeing what they try to do to constantly outdo each other, but the performances are just amazing. I've never seen acting on such a good, consistent standard on a show like I've seen on a Succession. I mean, I was saying to all my actors the other day, you got guests like Alexander Skarsgård as well, playing a jacket that only a complete wanker would wear. In that shot, and his character is totally. But I was saying to them that watching an episode of this is like watching a masterclass in acting. They're just so good, these actors, and a lot of that is down to the writing. Relationship between these two is really good.
I've not heard a bad thing about it. I've not heard one bad thing about this.
Yeah, I mean, and look, Leroy, I'm normally with you on this point. I've watched films where you hate all the characters, so it's like, who are you rooting for? And if this was a movie, it definitely would not work. But you just need to give it a chance because it is fun. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, look, actors love playing villains.
They do.
If you've got an ensemble group of villains,
that's basically it. Actually,
that's quite an incredible dynamic.
Yeah,
something completely different, totally original, grown up. I don't. This is why I think I've kind of gone off of TV quite a lot, because I think everything's very light and very fluffy, and you've got clearly defined villains and clearly defined heroes, or the nice guys / nice girls, and I don't like that. I don't like those lines to be really clearly drawn and clean cut. I kind of prefer a massive blur there, and for me to make my own decisions on which characters I prefer to associate with or to identify with.
Sure.
And I think that when you have an ensemble cast like this that probably has, I mean, I don't know how many there are in the main cast, the kind of key cast.
I think there's about 7.
Yeah, right. So if you've got seven characters, I would guarantee you that anybody watching this would probably identify with all of them at some point or another. There may come a point where
I mean, I certainly can't identify with having sent cockpits to people. But
what was that? What was that I got from you on my phone earlier, though?
No, that was That was an armadillo. It just looked like a cockpit. So that's a line from Spinal Tap, isn't it? No, it's a good show. I mean, I always say to people when I recommend it, caveat, season 1 is a little bit uneven. And I actually want to go back and watch the whole thing from the start, because now you kind of know everything about the characters. I have a feeling that there'll be a lot more to unpack from some of the earlier episodes, because it has what's really good about the performances is they're full of nuance.
Yeah.
And I love that when actors underplay certain things in the scene, and they're really clever about it, but you can still see these little hints.
Yeah.
It's very, very well done. I'm going to recommend a second show to you now, Inside Man, and then you can talk to me about a couple of the things that you've watched in the last week, even if they are from the 1970s. So I'm going to recommend the White House Plumbers. I've talked about this on my channel.
Yes, another one. That's another one.
Let's just put the ad blocker on. I'll give this 8 out of 10 on IMDb. Listen, I think it's an absolutely fantastic show. It's a 5-part miniseries on HBO Max, starring Woody Harrelson and Justin Theroux as the two sort of main guys. Howard Hunt, and I think it's Libby, isn't it? Gordon Liddy. And they're polar opposites characters. It's a little bit satirical. It definitely plays. I mean, one of the things that I can't believe about the whole operation to break into the office of the Republican Party and try and bug it and everything was it was completely bungled from start to finish. It was quite amateurish. And but one of the really fun scenes in the series, I think it's in episode 2, is a montage of all the other ideas that they pitched to the committee who were in charge of doing all these underhand things to undermine the
that's interesting.
And apparently all of the concepts that are mentioned in that montage were all pitched and were all real. And one of them was that they were going to hire out a pleasure boats in Cannes. What do you call them?
Oh,
all moored along the
those.
What are they called?
Brain
fart. Oh man, they're not cruisers. They're called oh fuck's sake. What can I? I'm never going to bring you on Inside Man again to dig me out of a hole, because I just know you'll be useless.
That's it. Yeah, quick. Get rid
but
of
anyway, one of the suggestions was to get one of these pleasure craft.
You're talking about the sort of private yacht things.
Private yachts, right? Get a private yacht, and have it there, because the conference of the Democrats was in Florida that year, and what they were going to do was they were going to send, they were going to pay 4 hookers, and they showed there's a scene where they meet the hookers and discuss the plan with them, and it's put to the hookers like this, and it says, "We're going to pay you a lot of money. We're going to put you on a pleasure craft. You're going to get to stay there the whole weekend, and we're going to give you 2 really big bags of cocaine." And they're like, "What have we got to do for this?" And they just say, "Sleep with as many of the Democrats as you can, and we're going to film it all with secret cameras, and we're going to pay you a lot of money." And that's called Operation something or other, and it's proposed. And the guy who's in charge of saying yes or no, who's John Dean, played by Donal Gleeson, who's having a whale of a time in the park.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, there he is. There, he's really gone from strength to strength. I love him.
Yeah.
He turns down that one, at which point Justin Theroux as Gordon Liddy, and you've never seen Justin Theroux in a role like this, says, why are you saying no? The hookers were really looking forward to it. It's just like, what a great line. The script is full of wit like that, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, yet you feel that everything you're watching really happened. And
I think because in real life, that the whole situation was actually quite farcical, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, and they play up on that, to the max. I think Oh, it's Donal Gleeson's. Is he the son of Brendan Gleeson? Do you know what? I did not know that from Braveheart. And that makes
Yeah,
sense because he does look
yeah, of
like
course.
him.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know that, you know. Well,
Freedom.
yeah, no wonder he's an actor, eh?
Yeah, yeah. No, he's great. I love him. I love him.
Well, I'll tell you another favourite actor of mine is in this Kim Sturgis, Kim Coates, sorry. He's not given loads to do. Of course,
Mm.
he plays Trigger in Sons of Anarchy, which is a great show
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you've not watched it.
yeah.
Here's a good photo of them all in the Whitehouse Plumbers. And
Mm.
I got to actually talk to Kim Coates in lockdown because he
Oh,
was
did you?
he was doing a breakdown of all the episodes of Sons of Anarchy with one of the
Yeah,
other actors.
yeah.
And they were doing like weekly drops and they talk through the whole episode. They kind of do like watch parties and all the Sons of Anarchy fans would come on and it was quite good for I think
How
everyone.
amazing.
Meant well.
Amazing.
And I got to kind of get a sense of who he was and
Mm,
I used to comment and he ended up following me on Twitter so I could send him a message and I sort of
mm,
introduced myself and we have a mutual friend with the actor Donal Logue. And I've been trying to get him on for an interview ever
yeah.
since. So I'll keep trying. But it's a shame he doesn't get to do more in this because I felt he was a bit underused.
Mm.
And you've got Tony Planer, who's a great actor as well. Been around for
Yeah,
always
remind
plays
me.
kind of Hispanic bad guys. You may well pronounce it Planner. I'm not sure which would be appropriate
Yeah.
for this. That's Tony Planer. I
Right,
think.
okay.
And he's been in like a lot of he's been in things like the Three Amigos, which is
Oh, was
actually
he really?
which by the way, that's the first film reviewed in my book 1988. One of
Oh, is it?
the first things I say in that review is this film is not funny. Because
Yeah.
it really is not, and it's
No,
aged so
no.
badly.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I agree with you.
but he's been a jobbing actor. Tony Planner's been a jobbing actor since I think like the early 1980s, I want to say.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Longer. He's been first role, 1978. What's happening? Don't
Wow.
know. First thing I saw him in would have been Office and a Gentleman. Yep, I remember him in that. So I saw him in that, and then he did loads of TV stuff, and gradually kind of did bigger and bigger parts. And
What was he in, Officer and a Gentleman?
he was one of the recruits.
Oh, was he,
He was like the young Hispanic,
Emiliano
young.
Santo de la Serra?
Yeah. That's the one.
Well,
Yeah.
let me tell you something. De la Serra.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God,
yeah,
you've got good
yeah.
memory, man. I don't remember the dialogue from that film. I only remember the song. Up
Yeah,
where
it was
we
just
belong.
great song.
Oh, it
Great
is.
song.
It
Yeah,
where the
it's a great song.
eagle flies. It's
Yeah,
very.
yeah,
You can
yeah. Do
write.
you
You
know?
can run up an American flag while you're listening to that one.
Yeah. Do you know what? I mean, it's kind of one of my sort of guilty pleasures, I think.
I do like it. I do like
Yeah, I like it. I think it's I mean, obviously one of Taylor Hackford's best.
Leroy
Um,
Peters remembers him also. Other four people, feel free to also comment in the chat. Don't just let Leroy be the only person commenting. But I do like your comments, Leroy. They're very insightful.
yeah.
Getting bitched by Louis Gossett. Didn't Louis Gossett get nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting? I
Yes,
think
he
he did.
did. Yes, he did.
Did he win?
I think he did win actually. Yeah.
Do you know what? Let's have a quick check. I think you might be right. I think he did win because wasn't that a big deal? First black actor for a male
Yeah.
supporting.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Let's have a look. Officer and a Gentleman, 1982. I bet somebody in chat is beavering away on this. Oscar nominations for Best Actress: Deborah Winger. Best Song. Hang on, let me go to awards down the bottom here. Okay, here we go. So, Best Supporting Actor, Louis Gossett Jr. He won.
Yeah.
He did
He
indeed,
won it.
and the
Yeah.
song won Best
Yeah.
Song. Rightly so.
Yeah. I mean, he's
Um,
what a lovely actor, though. What a lovely actor.
I love him
Just
in Enemy Mine.
yeah. Oh my God, I haven't seen that for years.
Mate, I saw that at the Cannon Prince Charles when it was just one screen. Louis Gossett Jr. is 87 now.
Wow.
He's been married and divorced 3 times, and I thought I was doing badly. So, I mean, that's Yeah, that's a lot of times.
Yeah, yeah,
I guess work comes first.
yeah.
Man, he's a guy I'd love to interview, but he's 87. I mean, I don't know if that. And he's got a great voice as well.
Yeah, amazing voice. I think because I think his son is quite um it, wasn't he something to do with I'm sure I heard somewhere that it was his son that actually came up with the concepts of the double-bladed lightsaber.
Oh
It was
well.
his I think it was his son that came up with the concept of that, the original concept of that.
Um,
Um
Leroy's saying, at least you have been married. Trust me, it's overrated. And I'm still single, no kids, never married. Well, I also have no kids, mate. So there you go. Yeah, well, I remember the kid that did the double lightsaber that became a YouTube sensation, and people
Oh,
added
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, bless him.
Star
Yeah.
Wars kid.
Yeah, that was really that was sweet, actually, I thought.
I want to give Judy Greer a shout out. She's an actress that I've sort of noticed a lot in the last 10, 15 years.
Mm.
And she's the dead ringer of the woman who played. My book is dedicated to her. Hold on. The woman who played Tom Hanks' dialogue scene at the end of Castaway, the woman he meets at the crossroads.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And she's a
Oh,
country and western
that's
singer.
right. Yeah, she passed, didn't she?
She was originally who I wanted on the cover of the Diamonds in the Sky book. I got the
Yeah.
fantastic actress Angela Dixon in the end,
Mm.
who was
Yeah.
great. But let me just look up who I'm. So Judy Greer. If they were ever to make a film about this woman's life,
Yeah.
Judy Greer should play her. And so, I mean, her name's on the tip of my tongue, but Lari White, of course. Now, there's a bit of a story here. Sorry, we're going down the rabbit holes, but they're all good
That's all
fun.
right, mate.
So, I wrote to Lari White, care of
Mm.
her fan page, not her fan page, sorry, her official website,
Mm.
when I was getting ready to publish the first Diamonds in the Sky book, because I based one of the characters on Lari White physically,
Mm.
but kind of I based sort of the energy of the character on the character from the end of Castaway that she played, who is this divorced woman who's gone through some kind of breakup. And there's that proposition of, is Tom Hanks going to go back to the farm and have some kind of romance with this
Yeah.
woman?
Yeah.
Or is he going to leave? And actually, we must do a stream about Castaway sometime. God, so many films to talk
Yeah.
about. So little time, as Willy Wonka would say.
Yeah.
But I thought she was amazing in that role. And I was going through a bit of a thing at the time when I went to see Castaway. And that scene really stayed with me.
Yeah.
And I remembered that character. And I thought, I'm going to base one of the characters in Diamonds in the Sky on that, because I want her to be a typical kind of girl next door, all American lass, you know,
Yeah.
and single mum, 2 kids,
Yeah.
coming out of an abused relationship, traveling across the sky when one of the spaceships nearly lands right on top of her. And when they arrive, which, as we know, is going to happen in about 6 months' time in reality.
Yeah, yeah. So rumor has it, yeah.
Yeah. You've probably done some digging on that since yesterday, haven't you?
Yeah.
So I wrote to her. I didn't hear anything. And, you know, eventually I was like, oh man, you know, okay, well, I'm going to have to go a different direction. And I said, look, I can't pay you a lot, but I would really like you to model the cover of this book. And because if, you know, my plan with the book is to make it into a TV show, and you would have first dibs on the part, and I'll even write you out a contract that says that if you want. And, but I never heard anything, which I thought was a bit strange. And unbeknownst to me, she was in the last few months of her fight against cancer.
Yeah.
And then I found out that she passed away. So I dedicated, I think it might have been the second book, to her. And I got in touch with her husband, who's a guy called Chuck Cannon, who's also a country and western singer. And I thought, I got to tell him this story. And I wrote him this big long email, said, look, you know, this is a bit long. Please bear with me. You don't know me, but I wrote to your late wife, and I really wanted her to be on the cover of this book, and this is why, and yada, yada, yada. And he wrote back to me and he said, wow, you know, this. And I said, do you mind if I dedicate my book to her? and in her memory, and he wrote back. He was really touched, and he was like, "Oh no, not at all." And and I think I had started my email "Dear Sir" or something, and he says that tells me that you had parents who taught you good manners, but please call me Chuck. So bit of a rabbit hole there, but
no, that's a nice story actually. That's really nice.
it's kind of journey related if you kind of think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
kind of got
yeah,
that vibe in it.
yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
so if anyone was ever going to play Lari White in a movie about her life, and there definitely should be one, I think it should be Judy Greer.
Mm,
Judy Greer should play her, and
yeah,
I
yeah,
reckon she can probably sing.
yeah.
You can't have eyes like that and not be able to sing.
God no.
So I would like to see Judy Greer play that role if anyone ever wanted to write that
Yeah,
story.
and I'm okay with playing her husband.
You could play Chuck Cannon. You're about the same age. Um, so, but anyway, I actually wanted to give Judy Greer a shout out, and we kind of segued a bit.
Yeah.
She's a phenomenal actress. And she's in the White House Plumbers. She plays the wife of one of the main characters.
Mm.
This is her in the White House Plumbers. Now, there's an amazing scene where Liddy and Howard Hunt introduce their wives for a dinner, and I'm going to show this scene at my movie quiz this year.
Mm.
And the wife of Howard Hunt says, "Oh, I'm a historical researcher." And Gordon Liddy gets all excited and goes, "Oh my God, I've got this amazing piece of history. You're just going to want to hear this fantastic vinyl record." And he gets this record out and he puts it on, and it's Hitler's greatest speeches.
No.
And I'm like, "It can bind Jordan," and all this, and it's like blasting out, and the two wives are looking at each other. And he's going, "Isn't it amazing?" And they're sort of going, "Could you turn it down a bit?" And the Howard Hunt is going, "Oh my God!" And it's just a brilliant scene. It is so funny. I think this is actually that scene, but before the record is played. You can tell from the expression on her face. I didn't know she was also in The Wedding Planner, which is, not necessarily a film that you should rush to watch.
No. Rush not to watch.
I would say rush not to watch. But yeah, man, she's great. She's been around for quite a while as well, and I've seen quite a few of her films, but I feel like she got to do a really good performance in the White House Plumber. She was also in War for the Planet of the Apes.
Oh right, okay.
Did you like the sort of the reboot Planet of the Apes movies? Are you a fan?
I did actually. I did.
They were the one time when CGI felt quite justified, I thought.
Yeah. I did like to see. I'm a big fan of a big fan of the original Planet of the Apes, and obviously, the Planet of the Apes TV series, something that I kind of grew up on.
Oh, I remember the title sequence to that.
Yeah. And but I love the book, so I've kind of I don't know. I suppose a little bit of bias, but I think these new ones, particularly the last couple, was it? War for the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
A lot of that is actually from Pierre Boull's book, which I really do like. There's some characters in there that didn't make it into the original film or films, but I mean, obviously, I think my favorite is obviously the original. The very first one. I think it's a formidable film. I think it still holds up today. I think it's great film. And nothing could ever have prepared you for that. The first time you have that shock at the end, that amazing shock ending.
Do you know what? When I watched that as a kid, it took me about 2 minutes to understand it.
Yeah.
Because I saw it, I must have been 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah.
And it was quite a scary film for a young kid to watch.
Yeah, very much so.
Especially the opening half an hour where they don't really reveal the apes straight away. You've got that kind of you see the sort of beating coming through the fields and all the people running, and
it's I think it's just kind of sort of sort of second act, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
but I remember, I mean, even as a kid watching the TV series, my favorite character was actually Urko, General Urko,
Oh, the
one of the
general.
guerrillas. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He was absolutely my favorite. I loved him.
I really
Um,
liked the film that was set in the city where they rise up, and you've got, you know, the big rebellion, and you've got all the men in body armor, like sort of like SWAT team, and they
yeah,
gradually kind of outwit and destroy all the city's defense forces. And there's a real kind of Nazi theme to the way that the
yeah, yeah.
government's
You're right.
run.
Yeah, yeah. Very sort of fascistic
Yeah, fascist
kind of
regime,
society. Yeah, yeah,
and of course, apes are like household pets because all cats and dogs have died or something.
yeah, yeah,
I really liked that film. I thought it was really good because it had a lot of action in it. And as a
yeah.
kid, you know, I was like, "Oh, cool, guns," you know. But I rewatched it since, and I still think of the sequels. For me, that's the best one.
Mm. Is that
Uh,
what's the one with Ricardo Montalban in? Who plays
that's
the
that's
um,
I think that's the same one.
yeah, yeah,
That's the same one
yeah.
because he's in that at the beginning, and he has Caesar who doesn't talk,
That's it.
and
Yeah,
they torture him, and he falls out the window.
yeah,
And
yeah,
actually, it's his death that then caused Caesar to organize the apes. And yeah, that's the same one. Yeah, it's a
yeah.
good one.
It is a good one. Yeah,
It's a good
yeah.
one. I think the weakest one is the one where the apes come, the apes arrive on Earth, and it's actually a
Um,
really good story, but it's
yeah,
just not very gripping. It's more comical,
yeah,
and it's more of a talking heads film.
yeah,
And then the
yeah.
last one that they did, which okay has a fair bit of action in it, it just looks really cheap.
Mm.
I think
Yeah,
there's
it was a
that
case of sort of diminishing returns, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah,
with everyone,
yeah,
the budget was getting lower, and the box office takings were getting lower.
yeah, yeah.
And by the time they got round to the TV series, unfortunately, I mean, there were 21 episodes scheduled, but it was cancelled after 14. So, and that was a great shame because I did love it, you know.
We
So,
should do a Planet of the Apes. I'm writing these down. So
mm.
Planet of the Apes stream. Definitely gonna do that. What was the other one we mentioned earlier?
um, oh, what didn't we mention? Right. So,
We had a
we
few.
definitely mentioned Officer and a Gentleman, didn't we?
Yeah, we could do you
Yeah.
know what? That
Oh,
would be a good one to
Enemy
do with
Mine.
another
Yeah,
film of a similar ilk.
yeah, yeah. Enemy Mine.
Enemy Mine would be a good one. And
Mm.
there's quite a few you could do, like Enemy Mine and Space Hunter together would be pretty good.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
always thought Space Hunter was very underrated. I really, really liked that film. It's good
I
fun.
haven't seen that in
I
years.
saw that at the cinema. Spartacus, thank you, Leroy. We did say the
Thank you, Leroy.
Spartacus the
Yeah,
TV series. Now
yeah. Well done.
I did see that you recommended the Hatfields and McCoys. I can tell you that Matt owns the Blu-ray of that, as he does
Mm,
indeed every Western that's ever been invented.
mm.
Um, I have seen it. I thought it was good, but I didn't want to watch it again, so I didn't. I didn't want to own it. I thought it
That's
was good.
exactly. Sorry, that's exactly the criteria that I use. I mean, if I'm not compelled to watch it a second time, then I'll never buy it. I'll never go out and get it.
No, I mean, there's like I was dating somebody recently, and on the first date, I learned that they'd never seen Die Hard.
Oh, oh,
So the second date
that's a crime.
was right. You're coming round to watch Die Hard,
Right, hard. Yeah,
and they loved it. They thought it was
yeah.
great.
As long as they didn't think that it was a euphemism or something.
No, 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 no. I mean, some euphemisms may have occurred, but I'm not going to discuss that. Leroy's asking why. I mean, look, it was. Listen, I love Bill Paxton, who was
Mm,
one of the main stars, and Kevin Costner as the two sort of family
mm,
patriarchs. It was a good show, but it was just really bleak, and it didn't have the fun of something like Tombstone, for example.
mm.
So I liked it. I thought it was good, but I didn't really want to watch it again. And there's a lot of really good films that I've seen that I don't particularly want to watch again. Like Jacob's Ladder is a really good and very deeply disturbing movie.
Yes, it is.
That
Yeah.
I don't particularly want to watch again. I think I did watch it again eventually. And I wasn't like, the second time I watched it, I thought, yeah, it was very disturbing and it's still disturbing. Why did I watch it again?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So,
one that I've only seen once as well. So, you know.
we're going to do a Chuck Norris Invasion USA stream at some point, which I'm sure you're going
Oh, do you
to
know,
play.
I've got a thing for Jay Chataway, the
Oh, I've got the score on vinyl, man.
yeah,
I've got it on
fantastic.
vinyl. I've got it. It's not here, but it's in the other room.
He's great.
Dun, dun,
Really,
dun,
really, yeah.
dun. Bum, bum,
Yeah.
bum. Is he? I think he's died. I don't think he's still around.
Do you know, I think he might still be around. I think he is.
Well, do
I
you know
think he's
what? We
still
should try
around.
and get him on. Try and get him on for the Invasion
He's
USA
brilliant.
stream.
Yeah, he is fantastic.
Let's have a look and see what is Jay Chataway up to. I'm really not hoping I'm going to say he's not up to a lot because he's dead. But no, he's still alive. You're right. He's
Fantastic.
76.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's right, because he did the music for a lot of the Star Trek Next Gen and the various
That's
other shows.
exactly, yeah. He's a great composer.
Yeah, Red Scorpion. I mean, I have to say I quite like the music on the Mission in Action movies.
Yeah.
He only did the second and third one.
Yeah, I've kind of got a stack of his stuff, but my absolute favorite, in fact, I'll talk about my favorite when we come to the end, because it kind of ties in with you know, what I've been viewing. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, so I recommend the White House Plumbers. I thoroughly recommend Succession. I'm just checking to see if Jay Chataway has he's got a Spotify account. I'm going to see if I can find him on social media.
That would be great.
He does look a bit like Colonel Saunders. What have you been watching?
Well, one of the most recent ones, and this is where it ties into Jay Chataway, was William Lustig's Vigilante.
That's isn't that a canon movie?
No, it wasn't actually. I can't remember who it was, but it absolutely definitely was not canon.
Let me.
With Robert Forster.
Oh, I love Robert Forster.
Oh, it's just
You remember the alligator film?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
I lied about my age to get into that because it was like a double A.
Yeah. Oh God, double A's.
Yeah.
God.
So I found Vigilante. This, I remember the video cover of this. Hang on, let's get it up. If you'll pardon the phrase.
Oh, misses.
So it's nice that, you know, as I can always depend on Gary to be watching the latest releases from 1982. So if you were to look at that cover, you would say, because you know how it is, a film comes out, it's a hit, and the Italian filmmakers go, how can we make that and cheaper and whack it out on the market and make some money, like they did with Humanoid for Star Wars. And I definitely need to do a Humanoid stream. That's another one I better write down. But so if I was going to say this is a rip of anything, it looks like the Warriors to me.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, but absolutely, I'm a big fan of William Lustig. I think you know, things like Maniac Cop and Maniac, in fact. You know, and you got Joe Spinell in there, who's one of his kind of stalwart sort of, you know, I suppose
I'm
company
not sure
actors.
I've seen this.
Oh, it's great. It's great. The score is absolutely arse-kicking. It's a fantastic score. Fred Williamson also just brilliant. And
is Williamson like the vigilante, or is he the baddie?
No,
with the beard. He looks like
Fred
a
Williamson.
low-rent Robert De Niro.
Honestly, I've seen a relatively cleaned up version of it, I mean, because my original copy of it was on VHS back in the day,
Oh, right.
and that was before even the sell-through market. We had a local video store that I
Yeah,
used to
yeah.
go to, and every now and again they'd have a clear out, and they'd sell tapes for like 50, 60 quid
Yeah, yeah.
a
Oh, God,
go.
I remember. Yeah, I bought Die
Oh,
Hard for that price.
yeah. And when you think about it now, you think, oh my God, what
Do you
was I
remember that
thinking?
rack at Tower Records before the retail market? Tower Records had a small rack. It would
Yeah,
sell the latest video releases on
yeah,
the rental market
yeah,
copies, and they'd be priced at like 50, 60 notes, and I paid 60 quid for Die Hard.
yeah. Yeah, it
Um,
was extortionate, isn't it? Really, all before the sell-through market. But I got this. I managed to get this copy in one of the big sort of boxes. Big white box it was.
like clamshell type thing.
Yeah, yeah, and then
Oh,
I got
that's very Dirty Harry, that shot, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. Honestly, there's some really beautiful camera work in there. Particularly the opening sequence. There's the opening sequence where Fred Williamson is kind of addressing the camera, so he's kind of doing a piece to camera. So although he's actually addressing a group of community members, but it's so beautifully shot.
Are these
And
ladies of the night, do we think?
oh, oh, hello.
Well,
Um,
I'm asking you because I haven't seen the movie.
I think right that I really see. This is why I don't really want to say too much about Fred Williamson's character.
Yeah,
I
don't
kind of
plot
yeah
spoil it for me because I'm
I
going to
don't
watch
want to
it now.
spoil too much. But William Lustig, right? I think he's been an overlooked director personally because people just kind of think of him as this director of quite low budget, sort of low rent type of movies, and that couldn't be further from the truth. He's an excellent writer, an excellent director, but one of the things that he really is he is a movie archivist, and what he does is he he searches out all of these forgotten movies, these forgotten, I suppose some of them exploitation movies, some little known movies that have just, that have been at the Grindhouse theatres that have just completely been forgotten. Um, and he does the full blown restoration job on these movies.
Hmm.
And I can't remember what the name of his label is or his company is. Blue something or other. Um, oh, I wish I could remember. But he is, in essence, he's actually saving movies. He really is saving movies because some of these movies that will never be seen. But he requires a budget to actually save these movies. To
Right.
get them restored and cleaned up, and he does the full works on them. Full commentaries with all the surviving members of the cast and crews,
Wow.
full retrospective documentaries, really
So,
goes to town on them.
so have you got a Blu-ray of this then?
I haven't. I've only got a DVD.
Let me let's see if we can find out the name of the label for anyone watching. So I'd like to be helpful in that regard. Yeah, I mean, because it has really become a collector's market. I mean, I
Mm,
don't know if you're
yeah.
familiar with the yeah, there we go, Vigilante Blu-ray. It's available,
Mm.
$14.99.
Oh, that's not bad actually.
Yeah. I can't see the name of the label on it though. Oh, it's 88 Films.
Right.
Yeah, so I've got an 88 film here, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because this is definitely in that similar vein.
Mm.
Let me get back on. I'll just take the screen down for a second so you can see what I'm going to show you. You're probably going to know this movie.
Mm.
This is called. There was sort of after the Dirty Harry hits, in the same way that Italy would rip off whatever genre was going.
Yeah.
They started doing their own kind of Dirty Harry genre.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the first ones was the Tough Ones. You remember that?
I might know it under a different title actually.
Yeah, well, I can show you the different title, my friend, because it's also known as this. And I mean, it's got a very sort of loose narrative. It's basically about a sort of a, you know, hard-hitting Italian cop, and they did 3 films. I've only got this one. I kind of want to get the others. But every time I buy any Blu-rays now, I'm kind of questioning, like, I don't have kids. Who am I passing these on to, and how many times am I really going to watch them? But I guess it's cool for talking about the channel. But it's a very gritty film, and it's got that real film grain.
Yeah.
In the way it's shot, and I think this is very much probably what it's in that similar vein.
Yeah.
Trying to achieve. I mean, if you look at that shot, look. That could be a shot from the movie we're just talking about.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. There is a certain style there. You know, there's you know, there's a carryover of style there. But you're right. I mean, these Italian movies. I mean, what year was that film that you
This
had
is
there?
these are all the other titles. So Assault with a Deadly Weapon, Viper, Brutal Justice. That looks like a UK quad.
Yeah.
Original release, I think I want to say something like 78, 76.
So it'd be. I suppose technically it'd be. You know, in terms of genre, it'd be a giallo movie, really.
Yeah. And this same guy who kind of sort of looked like a. I mean, I don't know. Would you call him like a low rent Reynolds or?
Yeah.
You know, he's in 3 of these. It's very grindhousey.
Yeah.
Unintentionally so, which kind of makes it even more fun.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's funny. I've got. I don't know. We're getting off topic a bit, but this is another one of 88's films, The Seventh Curse.
Oh,
and this was
God,
like, you know, Asian cinema's answer to Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
And I remember renting this on video, and there's this bizarre scene where these guys pull out these Law rocket launchers, like you see them in Invasion USA, and they fire them, and these grappling hooks come out. It's like, what?
Nothing if not imaginative.
Yeah, it's definitely not short on imagination. It's a batshit crazy movie.
I love them. I love them like that. I really do.
Yeah.
You know.
So let's get back to Vigilante and have a look at the cast in this movie, because I saw a few familiar faces. Now, isn't Woody Strode the guy that gets his head lopped off in The Shining? Isn't he the black caretaker in The Shining?
No, that's Scatman Crothers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. What about? Well, I've seen Woody Strode in something. What have I seen him in?
I just.
Oh, I know. He was in the film that's oh God, the Western, the parody Western with all the guys eating beans and farting.
Oh, Blazing Saddles.
Wasn't he in Blazing Saddles? Wasn't that him? Or am I getting that wrong? He was in Once Upon a Time in the West. That's definitely he's in that whole massive opening sequence. He's in The Quick and the Dead, which is a great film. I love.
Okay, not seen that for a while. Yeah, good film.
But you might be right. I don't think that was him in Blazing Saddles. Maybe I think maybe I got that wrong. Maybe that's a different actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got that wrong. I've seen him in Kingdom of the Spiders. I remember Kingdom of the Spiders, and he's another actor that did these kind of Italian.
Yeah.
See this one, like Razza Violenta.
Yeah.
Mike Martin is a CIA agent who goes on a final mission to Thailand to expose a group of KGB infiltrators. And honest to God, Gov, we're not trying to make him look like Al Pacino. And it's got Henry Silver in it, who I guess what? I bet he's playing a bad guy.
Yeah. I wonder. But it's funny because even people like Fred Williamson, I mean, he did a lot of the Italian movies as well. I mean, he, for example, I think he's done a couple of Macaroni Combat movies, obviously notably Inglourious Bastards, the original Inglourious Bastards.
Were you talking about Joe Spinelli?
No, Fred Williamson.
Oh, Fred Williamson. I mean, and wasn't he? He was also in the New Barbarians.
The New
Do you not know
Barbarians.
that? Oh, dude, let me get it from the other room because I've got steelbook of that. Hold on.
Oh, really?
Keep the audience entertained.
Yeah. Well, and for my latest trick, right, I'm going to do some magic and pick a card. No, not that one. Yeah. Okay, show it to me. Correct. Thanks very much. Or should I do some impressions? Just between you and I. Don't tell anyone.
I heard that. Okay. So here it is. I got it. Fred Williamson was in the New Barbarians, which is considered to be part of the Bronx Warriors
Of
trilogy.
course. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And
yeah.
the guy and Enzo G. Castellari is also the guy that did Inglourious Basterds, right? Or he was second unit on it or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because Bronx Warriors, they did really good packaging for these in the 80s. So when you were that kind of teenage kid and you were looking for that action flick, you would go down to the video shop and, you know, you'd see a cover like this and you'd think, oh, that looks cool. That's got to be good. And you'd kind of get this sort of low rent cross between the Warriors and some kind of biker movie.
Yeah.
But when I watch them now, I can actually appreciate them for how inventive the filmmakers were trying to be.
Absolutely. And on small budgets as well.
Yeah, very small budgets. And it's funny because the star of these three movies, Leo Gregory, just completely disappeared. And there's rumors, some people say that he became an estate agent. Other people say he died of cancer or HIV or whatever. And but he's sort of vanished. But I think somebody did track him down, and he's an estate agent. I mean, he's a bit embarrassed about the movies and would rather people think he was dead.
Oh.
So maybe he started that rumor himself.
Yeah.
I don't think they're anything to be embarrassed about.
No, not at all. Not at all.
You know, Leroy's talking about Eye of the Eagle. I've seen Eye of the Eagle. I don't know if it was Eye of the Eagle 2 or Eye of the Eagle 1, but I definitely saw an Eye of the Eagle. All right, let's go back to the cast. I'm going to have to watch this, man. And next time you come on, I'm going to tell you what I thought of it.
Yeah, I love it. It's a particular favourite of mine. I got to be honest with you. And like I say,
Joe Spinell is an actor that I've seen in a lot of B movie roles. So he died in '89.
Yeah, he's quite an unusual man by all accounts. Yeah, pretty unusual man. And I mean, Joe Spinell was in. I mean, obviously, Maniac.
Cop.
And Maniac Cop as well.
You know, I saw Maniac Cop at the cinema at the Cannon Panton Street. That horrible, it's an Odeon now, that horrible little pissant cinema off of Leicester Square where you're paying Leicester Square prices for a cinema that's about the size
Oh,
of
yeah, I know, yeah.
But sometimes that would be the only cinema that had those kind of small movies on. And I also saw No Retreat, No Surrender there.
Oh my God,
what a terrible movie.
Yeah, it really is terrible, yeah.
Yeah, he was in Rocky and Rocky 2 and The Godfather, Leroy. Well spotted. I remember him in all of those films. What happened to him? Why did he die so young?
I know he had a little bit of a drink and a drug problem. Yeah, unfortunately, quite heavy as well. I know that he did get clean, but unfortunately, you know, he kind of kept going back to it. In fact, William Lustig did an interview, and he actually talks about Joe Spinell. And
hang on a second, I just have to let my lodger in who's knocking at the door.
Okay,
just
mate.
Give me 2 seconds. Okay. I'll be right back. Keep talking about him.
Okay, and so yeah, there is an interview with William Lustig, and he really goes into quite great detail about Joe Spinell, who was, he was a great friend of his. But if you want to see a, you know, there's actually a great. There's actually a great video of Joe Spinell with Steven Spielberg. It's online now. Yeah, Joe Spinell and Steven Spielberg were mates, and it was with the Oscar nominations of '76, for the '76 Oscars.
He was married to adult film star Jean Jennings. I mean, I'm not familiar with her work, but that must have been interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure I could familiarise myself with it over the next couple of days.
Well, I feel we should go on to Michael Google and have a quick look to see who Jean Jennings is, and maybe you can tell us if you're familiar with her work inside, man. And if not, you can get inside to find out. Let's have a look. Sorry, I don't know where I was going with that. Let's just forget about that. So did I say Jean Jennings? Jean Jennings.
Jean Jennings.
Yeah, he was found dead in his apartment. Cause of death unknown, it said, or something. So adult film star. Let's have a look. Jean Jennings. Okay. These are quite strong images, so I'm probably not going to quickly go on to. I'm not going to screen share those. I can't say that I'm familiar with this woman, but she does. If we go on her IMDb, is there a more congenial photo? There's no picture on her IMDb.
No.
She also died relatively young, 54. I'm sensing tragedy afoot. 54, 2011, Tampa, Florida. Had one child with Spinell before divorcing him. Worked as a nurse and married her second husband. It'd be quite funny, wouldn't it, if you were in a ward and you were like this, you were Jean Jennings' biggest fan, and then suddenly she comes up in a nurse's costume. You'd think you'd died and gone to something.
Yeah.
That would be quite strange.
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen a film like that before.
I feel like I have also.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the other cast. So well, Joe Spinell definitely was an actor of talent. I always kind of enjoyed watching him. I always like looking at the people that you think, oh, I know them, but Vincent Beck looks familiar. Bad Guy for Hire. Steve James was in your movie as well. Of course, he did a whole load of stuff. He was a contract actor for Canon. And then he also died very young of, I think it was like a rare form of pancreatic cancer.
Oh, dear.
He was in, I didn't know he was a baseball fury in the Warriors. That's news to me. But he did various movies for Canon, POW, The Escape, and that kind of thing. And he was in the American Ninja stuff with Michael Dudikoff. Apparently a really nice guy. I heard lots of really lovely stories about him. I tried to get Michael Dudikoff to come on my channel, by the way. I reached out to him, but have not heard anything.
That would be interesting.
I think he's an estate agent now.
Another one?
Yes. I mean, he could come on, talk about his movies, and pitch like 3 of his houses. Frank Pesci is that's a great name for an Italian actor, if ever there was. See, he was an actor that I didn't even know had died. I remember him. He's a character actor that's had bit parts in absolutely loads of things. What role is he? One of the bad guys in Vigilante?
Should I?
I think we might have issues with Inside Man's audio again.
Can you
hear
me okay?
Yeah, I can now. You were cutting in and out a bit.
Okay. There's kind of ambiguity between good and bad in this. You have to decide for yourself, really.
Do you know I've never watched Sylvester Stallone's Paradise Alley?
I've seen it once. I haven't seen it for years. years and years.
Can you remember your opinion of it at the time?
I just remember it not being Rocky.
Right.
And
Which I guess is what
that's because
everyone was.
it was way back. It was way back. Um, yeah, I remember being disappointed. I'm sure I'd have a completely different view of it now, because as you do, when you.
I remember this woman in The Deer Hunter.
Oh
That's
yeah,
that would be an interesting film to do a stream about.
yeah,
You could do Deer Hunter and Jacob's Ladder together.
yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
I'm going to write The Deer Hunter down because that definitely is a film I'd like to do a stream about. And discussing the merits of do we need a 45-minute wedding sequence as our opening act.
Yeah.
So who else have we got? Joseph Carberry. Have we seen him in much? Let's have a look. He's still alive, unlike most of the rest of the cast. Again, looks like a jobbing character actor. I can't say he's someone that's been on my radar. 33 credits, last one 2007. I have seen him in things. I've definitely seen him in a couple of little bit parts, but not enough for me to go, oh yeah, I'd quite like to work
Yeah,
with.
there's a lot that I can't, if I'm completely honest with you. There's a lot that I wouldn't be able to tell you anything else that they've been involved with.
Yeah. Well, I don't. So should I watch Vigilante then? What do you give it out of 10?
Out of 10,
Yeah.
I'm I'm going for an 8.
Well, I'm
0.5.
gonna have to watch it. 6.5 on IMDb. Let's see the review headlines. Quite interested. Pretty entertaining with bloody shootouts and a pre-Parker era foot chase. I like the pre-Parker era. That's quite funny. Rousing revenge flick. Low budget revenge thriller with gritty street vibe. Lustig's homage to the Italian revenge flicks, which is exactly what I just showed you. Same thing.
Yeah.
Law plays second fiddle. Of course it does. Vigilante rules. Forster and William equal one Bronson. I like that. That's a good. Sleazy lover. Okay, interesting. Is there a Phil Collins song in the show?
No.
I'm going to say no. Exploitation for exploitation fans. Surprisingly solid early 80s exploitation. Foster goes off. Violence and topical message picture in the action genre. That's someone trying to sound intelligent there. Dark gritty thriller. Yeah, I'm sold. I mean, I may have watched it on video and forgotten about it. There were there were things like The Exterminator and 10 Minutes to Midnight and various other.
With Bronson.
Yeah, one of his better films, if I remember right. Going back to a couple of the questions in the chat here, Leroy, I have seen The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale. I saw that at the cinema. That's the one where at the end of the movie they show the real guy that Christian Bale played, and he's like the sort of black sheep of the family trying to egg Mark Wahlberg's character on to become successful. I really liked it. I thought it was very good.
Yeah.
Jarhead. I have seen Jarhead. It is a strange film. I thought it was a film that was probably strangely accurate about that war, perhaps.
Yeah.
5 minutes of firefight.
I know it was heavily criticised, wasn't it? I mean, I know a lot of military said it sort of made us look a bit dumb, but
you're ex-military, right?
No.
Sorry, excuse my assumption. I just
No. Although strangely, my cousin has actually been going through the family tree, our family history, and of course the military records are probably the best place to start if you're going to go through your family history. So, I mean, obviously, both of my grandfathers were both served in the Second World War. My maternal grandfather was in North Africa, both of the El Alamein campaigns and the Italian campaign. Awarded the British Empire Medal. My paternal grandfather, he was in France, Belgium, and Germany, and Holland, in fact.
Who did he serve with?
Do you know what? I can't remember who he actually served with. Um, I know was originally in the Remy, um, and then he transferred to. I'll have to get that confirmed by my cousin. But my
Mm.
maternal grandfather was in the Royal Artillery.
Mhm.
So the RHA, the Royal Horse Artillery. But then, prior to that, we have family members that were in the First World War. Prior to that, it kind of goes back a little bit, even a little further, which is quite odd. But we had members of my family that were actually present at the charge of the Light Brigade.
What?
That were in the charge of the Light Brigade and at Waterloo, and strangely, and at Trafalgar. Funny enough.
Well, those are the
Um,
3 big hitters right there, aren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah. I mean, and two of the members of and these are direct descendants. Two of the direct descendants of my family that were at Charge of the Light Brigade
Right.
have exactly the same names as both my sons, and strangely, one of my descendants that was at Waterloo bears the name of one of my sons, and another one that was at Trafalgar bears the name of my other son. So both my sons' names, um, they're kind of, and I had absolutely zero idea when I named my sons um, that their forefathers were kind of, these people at these different major events. And the funny thing about Waterloo is that the military records are so accurate that you can actually find out exactly where that person stood in that formation, in that square, the
Yeah.
precise position
Wow.
that they
That
stood.
is precise.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder. I mean, I guess they must have always kind of formatted. Everybody must have been in the same position when they did that in regimental
Yeah,
battle.
because it was all in squares, wasn't it? I think they used to attack in squares.
Here's the thing, right? While we're on the subject of this kind of era and these sort of strange, this is a Spanish import of a film called Vigilante Force. It's
Right.
got a vibe of the films we've been talking about. Are you
Yeah.
familiar with this one?
I'm not
Have
actually,
a look. Jan
but
Michael Vincent and Chris Christopherson. Is that ringing any bells?
oh, it does actually. Yeah. Yeah, it does.
I love the way the
Uh,
cover is like, let's put someone on with a bazooka, another
yeah.
one's getting shot, there's someone on fire, and we'll throw in some burning oil rigs and
Yeah.
someone and a sniper getting shot falling off a roof. And back then, all of
Yeah.
these things would actually happen in the movie, and they would
Yeah.
somehow cram them all onto a poster, which was always
Yeah.
delightful.
Yeah, that would sell the movie for me actually. I would buy that.
I think there's definitely something that would sell the movie for me on the back. This is great. This sort of this comical kind of sort of art
Yeah.
on the back here is pretty amusing. This is
Mm.
directed by George Armitage. That name rings a bell.
Yeah, I know that name.
I feel like I now need to look this up. Uh, let me have a quick look. Okay, so well, I'm definitely gonna check out Vigilante because that would
mm.
be an interesting, and I quite like those old sort of grindhousey vibe. He directed Grosse Point Blank. That's
Oh,
why I
of
know the
course he
name.
did.
That's a
Of
great
course he
film.
did. Yeah.
Probably John Cusack's last great movie,
Mm.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And he's someone I've heard a few things about in the industry.
Hmm.
Leave that there, I think.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
had a few friends work with him.
Yeah.
So uh, yeah, I definitely am aware that Chris Christopherson is both an actor and a country singer. People, of course,
Yeah.
yes, he was in Airwolf with Ernest Borgnine. He died recently. Yes, he did. 10 years ago. It does seem like recent. Funnily
It does.
enough,
Yeah. Yeah. It does seem very recent actually.
so Leroy has said, "Have you seen Black Hawk Down and We Were Soldiers?" Well, funnily enough, Leroy, let me show you what's coming up in a couple of weeks on Tuesday, because when we do our stuff with Matt, we do our kind of retrospective reviews. I've already got the artwork for this, and now I can't find it. Anyway, well, we're doing a Black Hawk Down and When We Were Soldiers comparison, because they're two pretty similar films about kind of historical events, you know, a unit against all the odds.
Yeah.
Different time periods, of course. Vietnam and Mogadishu are decades apart, practically a couple of decades apart. But there are a lot of similarities to the movies, and they're both of a very similar quality, I would say. But we'll get into that. Matthew and I will get into that, and Inside Man, if you want to be in on that one, you'll certainly be welcome. I think we're doing that the week after the Kingdom of Heaven,
Right.
Alexander.
Okay.
I think that's the next one.
Okay.
What
I'm going to have to do is refamiliarize myself with both of those. I mean, I haven't seen either of them for a while. To be honest with you, I think the DVD version, the DVD box set of Black Hawk Down is far superior to the Blu-ray set that came
Yeah,
out.
I've got the big old DVD set of
Yeah.
Black Hawk Down with all the extras in it, and it's
Yeah.
really
Don't get
nice.
rid of that. Don't get
No,
rid of
I'm
that. You
keeping
never.
it. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
keeping it. I haven't got rid of any of my DVDs
Mm,
actually,
mm.
because I'm a big believer in physical media.
Physical media. Yeah, me too.
So, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, it's it might take up some space, but you're going to have a completely unaltered
yeah,
version of that particular movie.
I've got them all in DJ cases. All my DVDs. I had to debox
Nice.
them. I've still kept all the
Yeah,
covers. They're all.
yeah.
I haven't got the boxes, but I'm sure I can get them once when
Mm.
I've got my big mansion.
Yeah.
Leroy's saying his uncle Nate served in Vietnam, so we were soldiers were kind of personal. Was he involved in
Yeah.
that particular battle, Leroy? I'd be interested to know if that's true. I can't remember if it was you that told me this story. I don't think it was you. I think it was somebody else. Maybe it was you. In the book We Were Soldiers, there's a British soldier fighting in that battle. Just happens to be a British citizen who I can't remember how he ended up in that unit, but
Mm.
he did. And he's at the battle of, if it's Lodrang Valley or whichever battle it is, and he features heavily in the book. And he was in the original draft of the first script, and Mel Gibson read it. And I'm not saying Gibson's got it in for the English or whatever, but he
Mm.
said, "Well, I don't want that in there," and he cut it. So that character was removed, and is no longer in it.
Yeah.
So, Inside Man, what else have you seen? Anything else you want to recommend you've seen recently, old or new? Doesn't really matter.
Well, I've actually got something sort of lined up. It's an Icelandic TV series, Trapped. I've not got around to watching it yet.
Oh, I've seen it.
Good, is it?
Yeah, do you know what? It was one of those shows. I started watching it with my ex.
Mm.
We saw the first 4 episodes. It's very atmospheric.
Mm.
You feel cold when you're watching it. Actually, it's one of
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
And it was good, and it was slow, and I didn't finish it. And now I feel like if I'm going to watch the remaining episodes, I've forgotten so much of it. I have to go back to the beginning. So I hate it
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I start to binge and I don't finish. And I think the reason I didn't finish it was there was a lot happening with Pegasus Bridge at that time. We were
Mm,
prepping it, and sort of
mm.
watching TV went out the window, and I didn't get to see it. Vex Electronica, the lady with the dead cat on her bed, is popping in to say hi. That's really nice of you to come in.
Hey.
She doesn't have a dead cat on her bed. It's just I was really tired, and it looked like that to me
Yeah.
on camera. Muhammad Ali was right about something. Yeah. So he served right. Okay. That's why I hate Muhammad Ali and Jane Fonda. Oh, okay, because they were against the war, I'm guessing. I mean,
Mm.
you've got to hold on a second. Hello. Let me mute myself. No problem. Sorry, I have an actor staying with me at the moment,
That's
and
okay,
they
mate.
were asking if maybe they could crash for an extra day. So,
No
and
problem.
they're in town for their birthday, so I think that's
Mm.
probably doable. We'll figure it out. So, yeah. All right. Well, look, Leroy, I don't want to start saying nasty things about Muhammad Ali, because I can't speak to his persona and so on. So let's keep it nice in the chat, please. We don't want to start having a dig at whatever side of politics you guys are on. You know, I don't want people bad mouthing particular figures of history. You can talk about Hitler if you want and slag him off. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah. So, but respect, Leroy. Respect to your relatives for serving in Vietnam.
Absolutely.
I'm sure
Absolutely.
nobody wanted to be there, and they did what they had to do to save the man next to them. And I think we can all agree, in light of everything that's come out since, America should never have been involved in that war.
No.
And people knew from the get-go that it was unwinnable. Unfortunately,
You know, I think the American soldiers, the American forces, the servicemen and women there were just as innocent as the civilians. Um, you know, they were, they were victims as much as the civilians were of various acts of war. But they were victims in a different way, um, victims of policy, um,
yeah.
victims of politics. But you can't take anything away from, any service personnel that served in a theatre of war so horrific. Um, so yeah, fair play to all of them. I've got a lot of respect and admiration for service personnel.
Absolutely, because there's that phrase, isn't there, that most conflicts are started by old men, and
Mm,
they're fought by young men, and
yeah, yeah, it's
and
exactly that.
very rarely the young men who start the wars,
Mm,
and very rarely these days do the sons of the old men go off to fight the wars for them. It's always
yeah,
somebody else's son. So
yeah, funny that.
funny that, I know, yeah, strange,
Yeah,
strange. I don't
yeah.
see Putin's sons on the front line of the Ukraine. So yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah,
Didn't see them surfing through the dam on their surfboard that they blew up the other day.
yeah,
But anyway, let's not
yeah,
let's not get politics. That's one of
yeah.
our own rules.
Yeah,
Don't wanna go there. So all right, okay, good. So okay, so you're thinking about watching Trapped. I don't know if anyone else in the chat has seen Trapped. If you want to recommend that,
it has
um,
100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, so
that's
it's
pretty
it's
good.
100%. You
That's
know,
pretty good
um,
and pretty rare.
yeah, very very rare. Um, so I mean that wasn't what it was that kind of sort of drew me to it. I think I kind of quite like these the whole sort of Nordic noir
Yeah,
thing.
I mean, I was a big fan of the first season of The Killing, and that came out
Mm.
right after my father died, who was Danish. And
Oh right, okay.
my Danish dad was a massive crime genre fan,
Mm.
and the whole Nordic noir thing exploded literally the year after his death. And I
Mm.
was so gutted because I mean I was
Yeah,
gutted anyway, obviously, but he would have loved that show. I
yeah,
mean, you
yeah.
weren't getting good Danish shows. You weren't getting any Danish shows on
Mm.
British television until The Killing came out, and
Mm.
then suddenly we had Denmark, Sweden, Norway. All of these great cop shows
Yeah,
was waiting to be, and that led to an explosion of European content.
yeah.
I mean, this is another stream that I'm going to do. I'm going to do a stream about France's answer to the Shield, which is Braquo.
Mm.
Have you seen this?
I've not,
If you
but I'm
haven't, oh my God, you've got to see this.
always
So
open to recommendations. I mean that,
I highly
yeah.
recommend this. This is about a French cop unit in Paris. They're kind of at the sharp end. You can see I've got the whole series here, all 4 seasons.
Mm.
And they get deeper and deeper and deeper in the shit, and more and more corrupt, and it all
Mm.
just It's kind of one of those shows where you're like rooting for the bad guys at the beginning and kind of you're not really rooting for them by the end. And there's a lot of parallels to that with my favorite cop show of all time. I've got all 7 seasons of it behind me, The Shield, which for me is some of the best writing ever on television. And in fact, the creator of Sons of Anarchy, Kurt Sutter, started off as he did a little acting role in, I think, first or second season, and he joined the writing team around the same time. And I think by the end of the 5th season, he was running the writing team. And he always had that. He had a really good stamp with his writing. He would make his endings really hit you with a hammer, so you needed to watch the next episode immediately. And I saw Sons of Anarchy. It wasn't broadcast in the UK. I saw it all on. That was the last thing I rented out, I think, from the video shop, was the DVDs of Sons of Anarchy. And I watched all 4. There were 4 seasons at the time. I think I watched all 4 seasons in about 5 days. I was just putting one episode on after the other, making some lunch, having a shower, coming back, watching another 4 episodes.
I've done that myself.
It's 3 a.m. Can I watch one more?
It's funny because I had during lockdown I had a 24 sort of marathon, and it was one of those things where I thought, I'm going to go through everything in chronological order. So I went through season 1.
That's got like 10 seasons, isn't it?
Yeah.
I only watched the first 3 episodes of the London one, and I didn't like it. And
do you know what? I did.
That had Duncan Pow in it, who was in one of my guys in the Journey, and he actually missed the second shoot of the Journey to shoot that. And so originally you were going to see a lot more of him, and that's when we had to split the film into the 3 characters because of him being in he was under contract. So maybe I should revisit it, but that was like London 24, Die Another Day or something.
Live Another Day.
Bond-esque.
I loved it. I do have a little bit of a bias for that particular season myself.
Did you work on that?
Yeah.
Thought you might have done. Any fun stories from
none at all, unfortunately. No.
Any non-funny stories?
Yeah.
But still mildly amusing.
A very eco-friendly shoot.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Very good.
Leroy's asking, have you guys watched Yellowstone? No, I've never heard of that. I don't know that show.
No. What's that all about?
Matt and I, Leroy, if you go and look on the channel, Matt and I did a special stream about Yellowstone, and we also went and looked at a load of the locations on Google Earth. So it's one of the episodes. I think it's one of the episodes of Chewing the Fat.
I'm gonna look that up straight after.
Where we do a sort of, it's not a retro review, it's more of a general chat about something we like that's kind of more contemporary. And we just talk about the whole show, and that's an episode of Chewing the Fat. So we chewed the fat on Yellowstone. So we have done that. I have seen Fortitude.
That's one of mine.
Did you work on that?
Yeah.
So Inside Man also worked on Fortitude. Okay, you've got to have a story from Fortitude now.
I have. I actually have. I've got a load of stuff from it. Loads of bits and pieces. And
just tell us one story, because maybe we can do a stream about Fortitude. I'll put that up as another potential.
It was cold.
No shit. But where did it shoot?
Iceland.
Right.
And but also Bottle Yard Studios, Bristol. That's the in series. Actually, I think I've got. Do you know what? I come across a few bits and pieces from that the other day. I'll get them over to you. See what you think.
So, apart from the fact that it was cold and shot in Bristol, anything more?
How long have you got?
Well, maybe we should save that for another stream.
Yeah.
Leroy
But
Peters went to school where it was filmed. Did you go to? Oh, I think you might be talking about Yellowstone instead of I don't think Fortitude was shot at Montana State University. I also did a stream. Actually, we did the whole world of Yellowstone on that stream, where we did 1883 and also 1923, which Matt hadn't seen yet, but I've seen all the episodes of. And I really liked 1883. I've got the Blu-ray of that here, I believe, somewhere. There it is. Still in the wrap because I haven't watched it again since I bought it. But I have seen the whole season twice. I watched it twice when it came out, and it was just such good production value. I thought, I've got to own this. Whether I'll have time to watch it again in my lifetime, who knows? But I don't buy that many now. Hey, Gary, look, this is what a physical copy of The Journey looks like. There you go.
Ooh, yeah. I might go and grab myself one of those.
Well, you know what? It's actually not available to buy. But you know what I should do is maybe I should order a load and I can just like sell them off my own website or something.
Yeah,
but it's. The markup on it would be very minimal, and I mean, people can watch it on YouTube anyway. So I don't know.
Yeah, but I think if they're anything like us, you know, having that physical copy kind of means something. I think
it's got the 45 making of thing. There's a big making of thing in the. I might even have that on here. Maybe I can show you a clip of it. Let me have a look. Don't know if I do. Maybe not. Yeah. I mean, I tell you another thing. I'm definitely going to do a stream on. I want to do. Now there was a massive poster of this right near my school when I was little school, as we would call it. Got to do a stream on this at some point. The Land That Time Forgot. Doug McClure.
Do you know what, mate? I'm not kidding. I've got some real special memories about this, right? And I've got the soundtrack.
On vinyl.
Yeah, I listened to it. It's digital. It's it's a digital copy, but nonetheless, it's the not quite the full score. And this really, it's one of those films that really kind of holds a little bit of a special place in my heart, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I can. It's got a very nostalgic feeling. If I didn't see it at the cinema because I wasn't old enough to go, but I remember seeing the posters everywhere, and I was begging my parents to take me. I was only about like 4 or something when it came out.
Yeah. I think it did have a couple of re-releases, a couple of reruns, especially when People That Time Forgot came out, I think.
Yeah, I think but I think I saw it when it was on TV. Was the first time I saw it. But I think a stream, The People That Time Forgot is pretty naff. I think if we were to pair it up with another movie, you'd want to do it.
I know what you're going to say.
Well, I've got two potentials. If it was another,
I know what you're going to say.
It's another British film, Journey to the Center of the Earth,
right?
And or The Valley of Gwangi.
The Valley of Gwangi. Good choice.
What did you think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to say Warlords of Atlantis.
Ah, well, I saw that at the cinema.
Yeah, so
I
did
saw
I.
that. I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that at the cinema with a double bill of something, and I can't remember what.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I saw with it. It was a double bill. You're absolutely right.
I'm gonna Google that because I think that was like 77. And Warlords of Atlantis 78 it was. Double bill release. Yeah, I definitely did. It might have even been with a like a Herbie Goes to
Mm,
Monte Carlo or one of them.
yeah.
Let's have a look. And whatever. Okay, reject all. God, I hate it when you go on their website and you have to. I saw part of Double Bill. The second film which I saw. Oh, okay. It was a car race film. Yeah. I remember. I know exactly what it was. It was Gumball Rally.
Gumball Rally. Oh
Gumball
my.
Rally with double
Do
bill
you know what? Right,
with
that's
Warlords of Atlantis.
that.
Gumball Rally, and
That's
Gumball Rally was great. It was like it was the better original Cannonball Run
Cannibal Run.
movie.
It was. It was. There's actually a really good story behind that. And that is that they tried to get this kind of movie about the Cannonball Run because it's actually the original race is actually called the Cannonball Run.
Yeah.
But there was kind of a race on who was going to get this movie out first, and of course, Gumball Rally was the one that did it first. But I've got my memories of Gumball Rally were because I grew up in South Africa, um, and because originally from London, but my uh, family moved over to South Africa.
Right.
And my father was working for a mining corporation, big mining corporation in South Africa. And what we used to do is because there was no TV there at that particular time, but there was this amazing place in downtown Pretoria where you could hire a 16 mil projector and reels of 16 mil film.
Right.
So every Sunday, what we would do, we would go out early in the morning. So we'd go to these outdoor swimming pools and go for what we call in South Africa a braai place, where it's basically a barbecue, an outdoor barbecue. So we'd have a braai. It'd be all the sort of expats and everything there. We'd come home, and my dad would go and hire out this movie projector,
Right.
and I'd go along with him, and I still remember the name of the company called Film Fun, and one of the movies that we got was the Gumball Rally,
Right.
um, and yes, so it's. And it was one that I kept asking to get every couple of weeks because it was such a favorite of mine. It was
Raul
that.
Jr. was in it.
Was he really? I can't.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
do you know
yeah. I
what?
haven't seen it for years.
I think our friend Joe Spinell was in it as well. I'm going to
I,
check
th-
the
my God,
credits, but I have a feeling he was. Let's have a look.
yeah.
We got to do a stream about the two movies. So Gary Busey, that's right, very young Gary Busey was in it. Trisha O'Neill, Nicholas Pryor, great
Well, I guess
actor.
it's
Is he still alive?
probably wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Nicholas Pryor, is he still? He's a great character actor. God, 1935, he's still
Oh,
alive. I don't think we'll get him on any for
yeah.
an interview. Colin Camp. No,
Wow.
maybe he wasn't. Oh, yeah, no, he is. Raul Julia Franco. There we go. Yeah, he was in it. And Tim McIntyre, I think he died in 86, so that's 41. God, that's
Mm,
terrible, man. God, he died really young.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah. But anyway, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, I mean this was one of those movies that we used to sort of nag my dad to get. But it was great sort of every Sunday. We'd have this sort of home cinema with this huge 16 mil projector, and that was where I first saw Dirty Dozen and Kelly's Heroes. But
Oh
of all
wow,
but
that
of
would
all
have been
things,
so cool.
it was amazing because there'd be us and maybe a couple of other British families, and everybody would be in this sort of darkened room with a bed sheet sort of pinned to the living room wall as
Mm,
a screen, and but we Yeah, so some of the sort of dubious choices of movie that we were allowed to watch were things like Wicked Wicked and The Spiral Staircase and Black Christmas and Play Misty for Me and Death Wish and Death Wish 2 and bearing in mind that I'm watching these movies like I'm like 7, 8 years old, watching Black Christmas.
That's hilarious.
And it was, but they, all of these movies hold a really special place in my heart. And then when, as a kind of a special treat, just down the road, we had a drive-in movie theatre. So we would just go, just drive down the road, and we had these mountains, just our house sort of overlooked these mountains called the Michalisberger, and we'd drive down to this drive-in movie on the Michalisberger. And that was one of the places where I first saw Jaws. Funny enough, I actually initially saw Jaws in a cinema called the Oscar in downtown Pretoria, but my sister and we loved it that much that we sort of kept pestering our parents when it came up to the drive-in theatre to get them to go and see it. I think we went to see it at the drive-in theatre about 3 times.
Right.
And it's still one of my favorite films of all time. It's one of those revisit films for me. I absolutely adore it.
I wonder if the Gumball Rally is out on Blu-ray.
I've actually been looking for it, believe it or not.
I was going to say, if it is, I'm so getting it right now. Let me. I mean, again, I don't need it, but seeing as I am going to be reviewing every film known to man after,
You do,
because this channel is going to be my main thing. After the play's done, Gumball Rally Blu-ray. Let's have a look. You can get it. You can get it. Yeah, it's
right,
there.
okay.
I mean, look, it's just like, most people have seen the Cannonball Run, and if you rewatch the Cannonball Run films, especially the second one, half the jokes are really not funny. The Gumball Rally feels like you're watching a real race with real people, but they're also funny characters.
Yeah.
Sorry, I clicked on the wrong page. Let me get the Amazon thing up. So there we go. Okay, so it is on Amazon for £21.
That's quite hefty.
It's a collector's market now, man, and also
you're right. Yeah.
since the cost of living thing as well, I noticed that the prices of all Blu-rays have gone up by £3.
Yeah.
It is a hefty price. Should I buy it though? I think I should, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
I
do. Yeah.
Look at this, brought together: the Gumball Rally, Cannonball Run 2, and Cannonball Run, frequently brought together. I mean, I'm not sure I'd want to watch the trio of all three of those.
No.
I think the thing that kind of annoyed me with the Cannonball Run films was that Dom DeLuise and Burt Reynolds, as much as I loved their kind of fun sparring, they were just playing parodies of themselves, hamming up to the point that they weren't really acting.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of, at one point, I was just like, can you stop fucking around and just kind of play the characters? And and then they had those long reels of all the moments where they would just keep laughing all the time at the end, which were kind of funny. But this film is superior to those movies in every way.
Absolutely. I mean, because I always felt that after seeing Gumball Rally and then subsequently seeing Cannibal Run, that I always thought that Cannibal Run was a movie of just set pieces that have been strung together.
Yeah. Basically, that's exactly true.
I mean, I love Burt Reynolds, like you. I mean, I love Burt Reynolds, and
I have ordered it. It's on its way.
Yeah.
I couldn't resist. This is going to be expensive for me, man. If I keep finding, oh my god, I have to own that, and then I'm trying not to buy many films, but I don't have that on DVD either. So I think I can.
Yeah, yeah. That's. I think it's a worthy addition.
I
But
bet
it's.
if we look at the reviews, right, Inside Man, I bet that there's 46 of them. It's got an unjust 6.2. I bet they're going to be quite complimentary. The film that best captures the pure joy of open road driving, I would agree. The best of the genre. What's behind me is not important. What's in front of me is. Do you remember that line? I think it's Raoul Julia that says that.
Yeah.
Keith Eves mentioned The Mad, Mad World. That is a good movie.
It is a great movie.
I particularly love the scene where they're discussing the shares after the car accident, and then suddenly one guy gets in his car and races away.
It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And wasn't it Jimmy Durante and
Jimmy Durante, a whole load of
the big W, the big W.
Copa's make it. Copa, I think you should make that comment in person. Come in the stream. I've sent you the link. Go to your Twitter. It's in there. Yeah, I mean, look, these are all reviews written obviously by people that love this movie, but they're totally bang on. The cars are the stars, and it's all just for the glory and the gumball machine.
Yeah,
I also like the. You see, the reason I always remember this film is, do you remember Screen Test?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do.
So that, for those people that don't know, that is a children's program which was the precursor to Lance's annual movie quiz. And basically, two teams of kids would watch clips of films and then answer questions on the clips, much like Lance's annual movie quiz, now in its 26th year. So basically, they showed the clip of just before the cars burst out the garage.
Yeah.
And you've got the cop waiting outside, and the first car that comes out like smashes right into him, and then every car that comes out afterwards takes off like another piece of the cop car.
Yeah.
It's just a really fun scene, and these are all really positive reviews. Before Smoking the Bandit, before Cannonball Run, there was Gumball Rally, and most people won't even have seen this movie. I always remember the scene where the guy on the bike, who I could have sworn was Joe Spinelli, but maybe it's not, sees somebody shitting out the window of their car, or mooning him. I'm not quite sure. That's the funny thing, was I saw this at the cinema because it double billed with Warlords of Atlantis. I completely forgot that I'd seen it at the cinema. Oh, mate, unexpected things come out of this stream, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's I've got to get it. I've got to get it.
Well, Warlords of Atlantis is another film that would be a good double bill with. So maybe I won't get into that too much now.
Peter Gilmore, isn't it? I think.
I'm going to show a clip of Gumball Rally at my movie. I've got a summer movie quiz. Actually, dude, if you want to come to that, because you'll be able to meet Matt. You'd be a great person to have at that.
Excellent.
So I'm doing it. It's in person. It's at my gaff, and two teams fight it out. You watch clips. You answer questions on the clip. 50% of the answers are always in the clip, and you win your potential share of a prize of £2 million. Because I have a series of scratch cards for the winning and losing team. Gumball Rally, I'm adding that. I've got a few. I've got a big list of movies I already want to show this year. So my list is nearly there now.
Yeah,
nearly there.
It's really got a big place in my heart, that film, for all sorts of reasons. But it is a good film. It's funny you mentioned Screen Test. Was it Rod? What was his name? Rod, the guy who used to do Tomorrow's World.
He did. Yeah.
Oh, what's his name? Rod something. Anyway, but the one for me. See, I used to watch that avidly. But the one for me was. Do you remember Clapperboard with Chris Kelly?
Clapperboard with Chris Kelly. I remember the episode where they did a special on The Spy Who Loved Me. And and that was the first Bond film I saw in the cinema.
That was the first one I saw in the cinema as well.
Yeah, these are the two cutie racers in the Gumball Rally. Susan Flannery and Joanna Now. I'm pretty sure as kids I probably found them quite confusing. Great. That was a great stunt in the film.
Mm.
Yeah, Clapperboard. They did a special on the Four Feathers as well, didn't they?
I don't remember. The one that really sticks out in my mind, more than any of them, was the one that they actually did on the Land That Time Forgot.
Oh
Um,
God, I
it was
don't
a
remember that.
brilliant.
But
It was absolutely fantastic, and there were there was quite a lot actually. They, used to do a lot about special effects, but I think there's only one episode that actually exists now, because Granada TV wiped.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me have a. I remember looking up Clapperboard, and there is a
Mm.
clip of it
Yeah,
on
it's
YouTube.
yeah,
Let
there's one episode, and it's about a lighting company called Samuelson's, or Sammy's, and they're still going, funny enough. They were at Pinewood at the time. Um, but I know the guy who runs Sammy's. It's a lovely, lovely man. Um, yeah, but
there's
yeah,
there's there's a couple of extracts. Okay, so the full episode of Clapperboard, The Empire Strikes Back special is on YouTube.
right.
Um, I might be able to just. I'm going to risk sharing the opening
Do you know what?
sequence.
I think I've actually seen that. Yeah, you're right. It's
Um,
just come back to me.
yeah, it is on. This is the sequence. This is the dinner was starting,
Mm,
and yeah, so I'd miss it or I wouldn't get to watch it. And
mm,
so here he is talking to the man in the C3PO costume, Anthony Daniels.
yeah.
Um,
C3P.
there's
Whoa.
Dave Prowse.
Yeah,
I don't want to get ratioed by showing too much, but look at that model work of a speeder there, and
yeah,
that's all stuff to nerd out about, isn't it? I recognise
yeah,
that
yeah.
guy. That's one of the main model builders, but he's
Was
British.
it?
This guy, if I remember
Yeah,
rightly.
Brian Johnson. It's Brian
Brian Johnson.
Johnson. Yeah,
That's right. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. He won the Oscar for Alien, and funny enough, although he won the Oscar for Alien, or was part of the team that won the Oscar for Alien. The guy that really deserved all the credit was Nicky Alder.
Right.
Fantastic model maker, absolutely first class model maker, Nicky Alder. And Ridley Scott's got nothing but amazing things to say about Nick Alder. See, Brian Johnson did. Oh, sorry, I'm getting slightly sidetracked here. Brian Johnson started on the Nostromo,
Right.
but it didn't work out well, let's just say.
Right.
So it was all kind of redone and repainted, because it was originally yellow. The Nostromo and the Refiner, it was originally painted yellow, and it just didn't register that well on camera. Um, but Yeah, so Nicky Alder took over, and he did the remainder he basically redid all of the miniature effects with his team. But a fantastic model maker and special effects artist.
I just realised on this stream, it said that I'm talking about False Accounts opening night on the titles. I'm going to have to edit that because I was originally supposed to do this stream after the opening night
Mm.
of the OSO,
Right,
which would have
okay.
been last
Yeah,
Wednesday.
yeah,
I was absolutely shattered, and when I came in, I
yeah.
was just like, boom. And I hadn't slept well the night before, and anyone knows I don't sleep very well at the best of the times right now. So, so I'm not talking about the opening night of False Accounts, but it was really good. It went really well. The play was extremely well received. I did do a chat about it actually on Drinkers channel the other day, but I think that's on his Patreon thing, so you can only see it if you're one of his Patreon people.
Right,
Um,
okay.
Melvin said the theme music sounded a lot like Grange Hill. I wonder if it's the same
It
composer.
does. It does sound like it. Yeah, you're right. It does. I
um,
think I actually think that music from, believe it or not, I think that music from Grange Hill, which was also used for "Give Us a Clue," if you remember, with Lionel Blair
yeah,
and Eunice Stubbs. But I think it was one of those kind of bog standard music library. I think it was from DeWolf. You know, DeWolf, the music library.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Um,
yeah.
You know, I mean, they supply music for all manner of TV and movies, including everything that was in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, apart from the songs. That was all from DeWolf. It was all stock music.
Do you know what? We should rename this Lance's Weekly Roundup to Down the Rabbit Hole with Lance and the Inside Man. That could be the name of the, because we go off
It's
on like so many random
yeah,
tangent topics, but they're all
yeah,
good topics though. So we
yeah.
have talked about, in addition to Succession and the White House Plumbers, anyone that's tuning in just now, we have also talked about the 1982 film Vigilante and the 1976 film Gumball Rally, which was released as a double bill in the UK with
Mm.
Warlords of
Warlords of Atlantis.
Atlantis.
Isn't it strange how it can just sort of branch off there?
Now, I don't know if you know this family, but I went to school with Simon Turk, who was the son of John Turk, who did Turk's Boats. And if you know about Turk's Boats, they did all of the boats for the Bond movies. And
Right.
John Turk was either at Pinewood when Warlords of the Atlantis was shooting the miniature effect work. They did a lot of, you know, the stuff where they build sets and it's like forced perspective and all that.
Yeah,
They did a
yeah,
lot of forced perspective on Warlords of Atlantis.
yeah.
And somehow they were throwing all this stuff out, and somehow Simon and his brother ended up with two of the miniature sets of Warlords of Atlantis in their bedroom
Oh,
to like have cool battles with their sock toy soldiers on and shit.
oh.
And we were all coming around. It was like, oh, how'd you get this? And I'll never forget as well, because he worked on all the Bond films and he did that. You
Mm.
remember that speedboat in Moonraker?
Yeah.
Simon came back with he came to school with a Moonraker belt, you know,
Oh,
with the logo, with the clasp that they would put
yeah,
around those orange
yeah,
jumpsuits.
yeah,
And I was like, oh man, he got a Moonraker belt. And it's like, yeah, you know.
yeah.
And I think his dad bagged him a laser gun as well. And like just
Wow,
like, yeah, he had some
wow.
proper cool bits and pieces his dad would come back with. And I remember spent a week on the river with his dad on one of their rental boats that they just got, the new ones that kind of
Yeah.
like these big plastic lifeboats effectively with 4 rooms on them. And I had the whole week I was just pestering him to tell me stories about, you know, what was it like to work on this Bond film, blah 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 blah. And
Mm.
probably by the end of the week he couldn't wait to get rid of me, you know. But yeah, so that's an interesting segue about Warlords of Atlantis.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Um,
That's really interesting. Actually, kind of slightly, yeah, I suppose kind of the same sort of subjects. Warlords of Atlantis, the creature effects were done by a guy called Roger Dickon. And if anybody is familiar with
Oh, Gary's Inside Man is turning into a Dalek again.
Roger Dickon.
You're turning into a
Work, you'll
Dalek
know
again.
that he was the guy that created the chestburster and facehugger for Alien.
We heard most of that, but you did turn into a Dalek briefly.
Oh dear, dear.
Yeah.
Exterminate. Yeah, so Roger Dickon, who did the creatures for Warlords of Atlantis, he was the guy that actually created the facehugger and chestburster for the original Alien. That was not Giger that designed and created those two creatures.
I did not know that. I've never seen this poster for Warlords of Atlantis. I've never seen this. Must be a new. Never seen this poster.
Oh, I've got that.
Have
Yeah.
you got that
Yeah,
poster?
I've got that. Yeah, I've got that. Yeah.
That's a cool poster, that.
Yeah.
But I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
only I've only got a repro, but yeah, I do have that. Yeah.
it's a very inventive film,
It
Warlords of
is.
Atlantis.
It
It's.
is. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of nonsense, but they didn't half throw everything at it.
Didn't
You
they?
know.
It was.
God,
I
yeah.
mean,
I
because
mean,
it was so. You know, it was very much in the vein of Land at the Time Forgot. Really.
yeah,
You know.
that same era, Valley of Gwangi,
Yeah. Yeah.
I always remember this scene with the octopus was a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
this actor, who was also killed in For Your Eyes Only, Roger Moore kicks him over the cliff. He committed suicide. He hung himself in his Hampstead flat. I forget his name. Yeah, and he was an actor who always looked interesting on screen, but you could tell that he wasn't a great actor. Now, this actress was the only female crew member in the film North Sea Hijack. And she's the one who Roger Moore thinks is a boy and gets in the shower at the end. And,
I see. Yeah.
And then, she, incredibly beautiful woman.
Yeah.
She did a couple of movies in the 70s, a couple of movies in the 80s, and then she disappeared. And I think probably because of that dress, I suspect maybe the reason she disappeared. And this guy, wasn't he? This is the guy who was Whittle's friend in Carry On Up the Khyber, who's kind of dying in the past. Isn't that actor?
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but quite a different role for him to sort of play a straight man. I feel like it's the same guy, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, I think it is. But with oh, what was I going to say now?
These efforts.
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry, I lost.
No. I was going to say something. I was completely distracted.
You were talking about the guy that did the face hugger, also did the creatures for this.
Yeah. I mean that, everyone thinks that was Giger that designed those. Those are the two creatures that he didn't design. Never had anything to do with them. Giger's design of the chest burst was completely different to the Roger Dickon design and creation, and so was the facehugger. Totally different. But Dickon was incredibly upset with his credit. Really upset with his credit. But yeah. Sorry, this is what I was going to say. That with Land That Time Forgot and Warlords of Atlantis, I mean, they're kind of of the same ilk, if you like.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, they do kind of strike me as being that.
And they both got Doug McClure in, which is a key ingredient for these movies.
Yeah.
We need to do like a Doug McClure special. I think
that'd be brilliant.
That's what we need to do, because he also died quite young, didn't he?
Oh, did he?
I think he got a rare form of rare cancer or something, cancerish thing going on.
Great face.
Yeah, I mean, he had a very natural leading man face. He played exactly the same role in every movie, but boy, did he do it well.
Didn't he also do? Didn't he do At the Earth's Core as well? I think was another one.
Did do At the Earth's Core. So I think we should do At the Earth's Core, Land That Time Forgot, and Warlords of Atlantis as a.
That'd be brilliant.
Bill.
A triple bill with Doug McClure.
And I don't know. The funny thing is, Matt has probably not seen any of those movies, so he'll be in for a treat. Kevin Connor did. He's still alive. Still alive. The guy that directed it is still around. Can you believe that?
My God.
And he was born in 1937. He must be well ancient. Sorry, Kevin, but you must be well ancient.
Do you know what? I have a feeling that I may have seen an interview that he did about a rescreening, a restoration of Warlords.
He was a director on Space 1999. Did 2 episodes.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
So there's been a recreation of Warlords of Atlantis. Is that happened or is that happening?
What, a new one?
Yeah, sorry, is that what you were talking about? I thought that's where you were going.
Oh no. Yeah, it's funny because I was actually going to get onto I think you mentioned North Sea Hijack. Was that Euan Lloyd? North Sea Hijack.
That was Euan Lloyd. Yeah, that was Euan Lloyd for sure.
Yeah.
It was.
He had that great little. Sorry, mate. Go on.
No, I mean it's funny because it's Die Hard on an oil rig, but
Yeah,
it's not on the oil rig. It's on the supply ship.
yeah, yeah.
And it's a film that should have way more action in it than
Mm,
it does.
mm,
But I really have learned to love that movie as
mm.
time's gone on. I really like the music.
Yeah, Roy
I
Budd,
like,
isn't it? Is it
I,
Roy Budd?
yeah, I think it is a Roy Budd score
Yeah,
because he did most of Euan Lloyd's films. I love
yeah.
Jack Watson trying to do a Swedish accent in it, which is hilarious.
Jack Watson, yeah,
And
yeah,
of course, he's another he's another Euan Lloyd regular.
yeah. Alumni, yeah,
And
yeah. I mean,
I've actually been trying to get a UK cinema quad for
mm,
North Sea Hijack because I really love the original poster.
mm,
And it
yeah,
is
yeah,
basically a UK shaped one. You know, it's a 30 by 40 of that artwork.
yeah, yeah,
But Anthony Perkins is brilliant as the villain in it. And
yeah.
there's that great sort of interplay between him and Michael Parks, where it's
Mm,
kind of implied that they're in a gay relationship,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
which is totally unintentional, apparently. These look like bubblegum cards, look.
They do, yeah,
But I think they're lobby stills.
yeah,
Jeremy Clyde is very good in this. And so is James Mason and David Hedison.
yeah.
So you got
I mean, what a cast!
yeah, great cast. And that's the lady from Warlords of Atlantis,
Yeah,
Leah
yeah,
Brody. That's her name,
yeah,
Leah Brody. And Folks Fusiliers. There's a story that the stunt guys who were the Folks Fusiliers were the same stunt team that were on Bridge Too Far.
mm.
And a friend of mine was in North Sea Hijack. He played like Folks's number 2. There's Michael
Yes,
Parks, who went on to
yeah,
be a producer and a director
yeah.
later. He wears these big, ridiculous glasses. This is my friend at the end here.
Oh, yeah.
But these guys were all stunt guys. In fact, this guy was in Wild Geese. I'm pretty sure
Mm,
this guy was in Wild Geese. They probably all were. And they had to do a take where they all come out the water at the same time, right?
mm,
And he was telling me that on the first take, you know, he went up because he was part of their team, so he had to do that take with them, and
mm.
he did it spot on. And they said, no, 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 don't do that. And he's like, why? That's what the director said. No, 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 we're all going to come up at different times because they have to, because we're doing an underwater take, they have to pay us extra money for
Yeah,
every take. Tim
yeah,
Bentic is my friend who was in it.
yeah.
And he's a really lovely guy. I'm actually trying to get him on the channel as well. So he's got a book out, so I'm pretty sure we'll get him on.
Oh, that, yeah. What's what's the book called? Do you know? Can you remember the title of the book?
Because he's the voice of Jonathan Archer from the Archer's radio show. So
Oh, is he right? Okay,
it's a
okay.
reference.
That'll easily be. Yeah, I can easily look that up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a reference. That it's a good. It's a fun read. He
Mm.
gave me a signed copy of it, which was very kind of him.
Oh,
The
that's kind
most
of him.
recent
Yeah.
thing he was in was Ted Lasso, but he's been in 244 episodes of The Archers over the years. You know.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Yeah, that's something.
he's been in some. He's had some great roles. And he was in The House Divided. Do you remember that? That BBC drama about the English Civil War.
I don't, if I'm completely honest. No, I
No,
don't.
he was in that. And Tim Bentic said when he watches it back now, it was one of his first big jobs for television. And he said,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's so embarrassing. There's lots of me going, my liege, and all this kind of thing." You know, which is pretty
Yeah.
hilarious.
It's
Um,
funny that it's funny because Euan Lloyd had that little spell, didn't he, where he was everything he did was kind of hot.
yeah,
I
probably
mean,
like 75 to 81, maybe. And then he did
yeah,
Wild Goose 2, which was awful, terrible
it
script.
was a diabolical. But I mean, I've got a couple of his films in particular, or a few of his films in particular, do hold quite a special place in my heart. Wild Geese is one of them,
Wild Geese, I
and
mean, the Blu-ray that's up there.
yeah, and
And I hired a
who
cinema
dares
out.
wins?
I hired a cinema out to watch Wild Geese for my 30th birthday.
Amazing,
Who Dares Wins,
Amazing.
I also saw at the cinema, and I also think
Yeah,
it's very good, and I still think it
yeah.
holds up well today.
I think it does. I think it
It
does. I
got
think
slaughtered by the critics when it.
absolutely no idea why. I mean, what
I
I
think
see.
the
I
acting in it is really good. I think there's that scene where they're arguing about, the effectiveness of detonating a nuclear explosion
yeah,
to in the protest of peace. And
yeah.
what's his name from the Alamo, the actor who was in the Alamo, who's
Richard
the
Widmark.
Richard Widmark
Yeah,
takes her on with the
yeah,
argument. It's a really good scene.
yeah. It's a really good scene.
And they and
It's a really good
they're
scene.
back and forth with it, and then she realizes at the end of it, yeah, what we're doing is fucking insane. And
Yeah,
he made her realize, yeah, this is we're dumb bastards. This is stupid,
but there's
because
some there's some. I
it's
mean,
going to do nothing.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
really,
I mean,
really.
it's a terrific. That's a terrific scene. I thought Edward Woodward was really really good in it.
I might
Um,
change the name of this stream to things we're going to be talking about in the next 6 months, because we should do. I mean, a Euan Lloyd one would be good to
oh
do,
my god, yeah.
because we could cover Who Dares Wins, The Wild Geese, North Sea Hijack are probably my three favourites
Mm,
of his.
mm.
I don't know if is there another one that was good? It was
I
called
mean,
The
those
Final
would be the
Option.
three for me. Those would be the three. I mean, I've see we were actually in South Africa when Wild Geese was being shot, and we
Mm.
weren't that far from where that was all going off.
I
Um,
had a look at that on Google the
yeah,
other day.
it's
The bridge is right near the border. The scene with the bridge and the trucks is right near the
yeah,
border up north, isn't it?
yeah, and yeah, because it's in the Northern Transvaal, or what was formerly the Northern Transvaal,
Yeah.
um, and yeah, it's yeah, I've got well, my dad would have had a couple of stories were he here, but there's
Did he get to visit the set?
um, well, Major Mike Hoare,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mad
yeah,
Mad
yeah.
Mike Hoare,
I know
um,
all about him.
yeah, yeah. There's well, there's a couple of little stories that sort of connect my dad and him. So
Right.
yeah, yeah. But anyway,
Okay.
yeah,
All right, leave that there
yeah,
probably, but yeah,
yeah.
okay. So
But
maybe
it's
he got to visit the set is what you're saying.
yeah, yeah. But it's I mean it's a special film for me, and I think it's probably I think one of the most beautiful theme songs. I love it. I absolutely love
Oh,
that theme
the
song,
one
Joan
by
Armour Trading, yeah,
yeah, John. There's a great
yeah,
interview with her defending her decision to do the song because, of course, at the time it was one of the few films made under apartheid.
mm,
That got
mm,
a bit of a backlash because of that. But and there's a great interview with the two black actors that were in it. One of them died recently. I spoke
yeah.
to the guy that played Jesse. Not
Oh,
that
really?
he was in a play in London, and I
Yeah.
was going to go and see him and meet him, and it was when the pandemic shut the play down.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
I was proper gutted about that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Euan Lloyd's daughter, Rosalind Lloyd.
Rosalind Lloyd, yeah, yeah,
Wouldn't it be great
yeah.
if we could get her on for a stream to talk about her
Oh
dad's
my
films?
God. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah. I mean,
I've been in that corridor in Pinewood.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's Heatherton Hall, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
upstairs. It's
yeah,
upstairs where the main
yeah,
offices are.
yeah. And
Um,
and of course, the main room downstairs, the banqueting hall that they have for
yeah,
the that's obviously the banqueting hall at Heatherton Hall.
I had a
Um,
certain day of celebration in that. That's the UK Cinema Quad.
yeah,
But I know that room very well, and the room
mm,
where they held the wives and aides is the
mm,
secondary dining hall right next to it. Of course,
mm,
they made them appear like both rooms were upstairs
yeah,
in the building, which was quite clever the way they did that, I thought.
yeah, yeah.
That's a unusual double bill for a Blu-ray, isn't it? Jim Brown Escape from Devil's Island and the final option. Not two films I would sort of do as a double review.
No.
That's a terrible cover, that one. That's an
Yeah.
awful cover.
Yeah.
That's
That's
terrible
terrible.
artwork.
See,
That
I
scene
think,
is great. That scene is
yeah,
great. Can
yeah,
you do that
amazing.
again? It was a bit fast
Yeah,
for me.
yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
See, the thing about Who Dares Wins is, I mean, it sort of garnered a lot of criticism for being sort of overtly sort of right wing because it came in the wake of the Iranian embassy siege.
Right.
Um, and also, the press were sort of criticizing, Lewis Collins. However, Lewis Collins passed selection for 23 Reg SAS. So he actually passed selection. So he was as good as he needed to be.
That's
So
interesting.
yeah. So I mean, he is. I mean, it was terrible losing him at such a young age.
I
But
know. Yeah, he was I think 67 or something. He was
yeah, I
relatively.
mean, actually, I think he's buried or interred in California where he lived.
Yeah.
And it actually says on his plaque, uh, Lewis Collins, I think Lance Corporal, 23 Regiment Special Air Service.
In kind of a nod to this, I guess.
Well, I mean, really, because he was incredibly proud of passing selection.
Okay.
Um, it was
I mean,
incredibly proud, and so he.
you know the story behind this sequence, right? Which was they were watching the stuntmen set up to do it, and
Mm,
then the SAS advisor said, "Why don't I just get my guys to do it?" And
yeah,
so the guys that abseiled down and did this whole sequence were real SAS.
yeah, yeah. You can kind of tell, can't you?
Yeah.
It looks like meat and potatoes for them. It's rather than
Yeah.
just taking nothing away from anything that any stunt performer does. I mean, they're amazing
The late
people.
great Robert Webber there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that room now holds quite a lot of sad memories for me, sadly. But we
yeah,
won't go there.
yeah,
That was a great scene. What a great bitch fight in a movie.
yeah, amazing. I
I
mean,
think
big
first time
fan
I'd
of
ever
Ingrid
seen one.
Pitt.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Ingrid Pitt. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, Where Eagles There. I mean, what's not to love about Ingrid Pitt and Where Eagles There?
she's great in that.
Yeah, she is.
God, and
Yeah,
Mary Ure in that as well. Her eyes, my
yeah.
God.
Oh my God. Yeah, yeah.
Um, well, this has
I was
become
just gonna say what a pair, but
um,
I meant what I really meant was that
the two ladies.
the two
Yeah.
ladies. Yeah,
This has become an unofficial Who Dares Wins segue, but whatever.
yeah,
It's all good. I watched
yeah.
this film not that long ago. I don't have the Blu-ray of this, but I've got the DVD. I've seen the movie God knows how
Mm,
many times. I saw it twice at the cinema when it came out. I liked it so
mm,
much I went back and saw it again a few
yeah,
days later.
yeah, yeah.
And
Same here.
it was a double A, if I remember rightly, when it was released in
It
the
was a
UK.
double A.
It
Yeah,
was a double A, and I was that you were supposed to be 16. I was not
yeah.
16, but I was very tall. So
Oh dear.
I blagged it to see. I was like something like 11 when I saw it.
Yeah,
But
yeah, 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 yeah.
I was the tallest in my year, and Martin,
Mm,
who was in the year above me and my next door neighbor, was the tallest in his year. So we went to see like Nightmare on Elm Street together,
mm,
and they would always ask us how old we were, and we'd memorize our birth dates and add or minus however many years, so we could
yeah,
roll it off the tongue straight
yeah.
away. And they'd always let us in. And the funny thing was, I would come back with my birth certificate to watch PGs to prove I was a kid, so I could pay for the lower price on other days. Talk about taking the
Uh,
piss.
yeah, yeah. Hang
Um,
on, we remember you.
I think that happened once. I think,
Yeah,
and then of course I ended up working at that cinema, and Hetty, the lady that worked behind the thing, she
yeah.
remembered me well. Right. Well, I think it's 2 a.m. So I think we'll wrap it up there.
Okay, mate.
We segued off in quite a few directions, but it was great fun.
Yeah, superb.
And so I do the weekly roundup usually on a Wednesday. I'm not sure if there's going to be one next week because I think we've got we've got rehearsals online, but actually no, there will be one. There will be one. We're not doing the show until 2 weeks' time. There will be a roundup next week. So if you're free, come on again, Inside Man, if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great. Fantastic.
I might even make it one of the topics we talked about, in which case we might have to quickly come up with a poster. Because I've got a selection of stuff now. So
yeah.
And my copy of Gumball Rallyway may well have arrived. I don't know if it came with any specials, with any special features. I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see some kind of, even if it's a kind of a retrospective or maybe an old, sort of an old 70s documentary with that.
Well, we'll just have to do a current documentary about it, and we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Do it like that.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
There's a thought. Yeah.
By the way, did you see? I've just seen it for sale on Amazon. Did you see The Battle for Long Tan, Danger Close, the Australian Vietnam film?
No.
That was directed by a friend of Matt's. It was a passion project. Took him forever to get it off the ground. I'd be very interested to know your opinion of that.
Okay, I'll give that a squint.
All right. Well, guys, thanks very much for tuning in.
Thank you.
And thanks to Inside Man, my guests, for being
You're
on.
welcome. You're more than welcome.
We'll be back on Tuesday next week for Kingdom of Heaven and Alexander. I may do a live stream to do with false accounts before then. I think that's very likely, probably on Sunday, but we'll see when it happens. But in the meantime, thanks everyone, and we'll see you all again real soon.
Thank you.